fucked up.
Idiot. You goddamn.
Well, what the hell? It's 1, 2, 3, then go. Everybody knows that.
Nah, not East Coast rules, baby.
Oh my god.
Nah,
East
man.
Coast bullshit.
I just came back from New Jersey. I'm different now.
No.
Dude, it's fucking nuts. I'll talk about New Jersey.
Yeah, let's talk about. Sure.
That's a funny reaction.
Local jokes get local jobs. So let's talk about New Jersey here.
What the fuck? I can't talk about my home state.
No, DJ, you
Why?
fucking can't.
Why? You think I can make it from
Nobody wants to
the
hear about
garbage
what's going on in New Jersey.
No, you
Who
do
cares
this.
about New Jersey?
Ooh, the
You think I can make
devils.
this?
No.
Did I make it?
DJ
Nope.
just made the lowest stakes shot to a trash can that I've ever seen.
Wait,
so.
no, did I make it though?
You
No.
made it?
Okay. You're.
You made it?
Okay.
I'm
Allie, about it.
no, he didn't make it. He didn't make it.
That's what they said to me on my birthday.
He didn't make
He didn't make
it.
it.
Tyler, you gonna tell me happy birthday? No, you didn't make it.
You didn't make it, nah.
Call me when you've made it.
Yeah, when you made it.
Where's my hamster? Is it done with surgery?
No.
No, he didn't make it.
That's not the same thing.
It could be
It's not
though.
the same joke.
It's the same sentence.
Different thing though.
Yes. Layers.
Anyway.
You guys ready to bring in the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not podcast?
I thought that was
It's
it.
recording.
Welcome to the Technically Human Podcast.
Hey, bang, 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 bang. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Welcome to episode of the Technically Human Podcast.
Hey.
We're not even out of double
Insert
digits, and I'm
number
already
here.
fucking lost about what number we're on.
This
Just
is the
use-
second one where we're not on SoundCloud.
Yep,
That's the only one that matters. The true fans are here now.
it'll be like, was it
The true
Technically
fans.
Human PS?
Just
Oh,
use one of
SoundCloud.
those like text-to-speech voices like Will from Afar to put in the number. Welcome to episode 4 of Technically Human.
No, we just need the most apathetic, like, 4.
Far.
Like, just put that in there.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Let's
Four.
get someone to VO that's like a newly fresh divorcee and is like bitter about everything.
Who just had 1 sip of whiskey and 4 cigarettes.
Yes.
If you want to send in audio of you saying numbers, send it here.
Send it to our email, which I have found out through trying to email ourselves is not the easiest email to write.
It's
But
a lot of letters.
TECHNICALLYHUMANMEDIA.
Yeah.
See?
And I didn't like someone who fell in love. Yeah.
I'm winded. I'm fucking winded. That's a lot.
Plugs are gonna be fun in the future. But yeah, what's up, guys? Technically Human Podcast.
Hello.
We, the podcast. What do we say it was gonna be? The Infinicast.
Oh,
the big old
Infinicast.
Infinity War podcast, because we've all seen it now.
It's here.
Yeah.
We are free from our spoilers. I've been going on Facebook and feeling free.
Yeah, it is such a liberating feeling after avoiding social media for so long
Yeah.
and like being in on like all the memes and jokes that have been going around.
Facebook's
about it and
gross.
stuff.
But
Facebook's stinky.
Facebook's gross, and you should feel bad for being on it.
That's true.
I'll
But they've
stand
been having
firmly on that.
they've been having some good memes
I
though.
feel real bad.
All right. Well, you know, I
And
just
that's
want
all
you
I
to know
need.
how many government officials have seen your what you're looking at and what
Mhm.
you're searching. I'm just, you know, it's man,
Well, at the very least, I hope they like them.
it's a minefield. I would stay off Facebook, kids.
Yeah. So what do we want to get into first,
Don't do
guys?
Facebook.
What's going on? What do we want to get into
You
first?
want to do Infinity War? We talked about it.
Let's do
we named
Infinity
the
War
podcast-
first.
Okay.
We took away the
Right off
so
the bat.
beloved name of the podcast,
Yes.
The Beans, and
Yes.
we've now gone with the Finicast.
Yeah.
Beans.
Ooh, I
Infinicast?
like that.
Infinicast.
The Finicast.
That's why they pay me nothing.
Absolutely nothing. That's why I'm the boss.
Oh, I'm
That's
Fin-
why
Finicast.
sometimes I write for free.
The Finicast. Good work, no pay.
I'm fitting the cast real quick. You know what I'm
shit,
saying?
son.
Let's have a check-in though
Yeah.
before, because you've asked a couple of times. I want everyone to know I am a little bummed.
Yeah.
It's been a bum week.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What's
You know,
up? Why
one,
you bummed?
my country's
feel
on
that.
fire.
Your
and
country's
I'm
always
so,
on fire.
Dude, our country.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels so on fire all the time.
That's
and
true.
I wish it was not on fire sometimes, but then again, the fire seems like the only thing keeping us warm. So
Yeah. Just gotta ride the bomb down, man.
yeah, you know,
Write it down.
It's kind of one of those like, the more I don't hear about things, the happier I am. Like there was something about a comedian saying a really bad joke that was a really good joke that made a lot of people mad or something.
Huh.
I don't know.
I have no
I have
idea.
no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea what the situation is, and I don't want to know because somehow I missed that. And it's another news story that's bringing nobody joy or nobody information or nobody anything good. So
Yeah. Well,
That's
that's
news.
where I am.
I'm sorry.
Also, Haven't graduated college yet, so
Always
doing
fun.
a lot of college. So college.
Colleging it up real hard.
Yeah, college it was midterms this week, I think.
Ugh.
And midterms, sometimes you can miss them in quarter school because it's 5 weeks in. And it's
Yeah.
like not prepared at all. You're not ready for it. You don't want it.
And they don't talk about it till it's midterm.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, yeah, we're taking a midterm today. Oh, fucking awesome. That's exactly what I woke
Sweet,
up today
dude.
and
Yeah,
realized
right.
I wanted to do. I wanted to take a midterm on Spanish because I fucking love Spanish, man.
I don't think I've
Spanish.
ever taken a good Spanish class, honestly.
I
That
haven't either.
disappoints me.
I had 2 in high school, and they were both bullshit.
Yeah.
One of which the teacher was gone for pretty much the whole that whole year because she had a baby, and so the
What a
solution.
jerk.
Well, no, that's not what I said. No, she had a baby,
Yeah.
but our school solution was to bring in a sub that did not speak Spanish at all, and was learning with us throughout the class pretty much, and everyone failed pretty much,
We all-
except
even
for
the
like
teacher
the
failed.
2 valedictorian kids that were in the class. Like everyone got like D's and F's in that
Yeah.
class.
One time,
Yeah, it was
I
bad.
had a teacher who was pushing late 70s.
Ooh.
You know, the coolest teacher. I'm not going to lie, the coolest. His
Cool.
name was Mr. Petty.
Petty.
I like
One
this
time
guy.
he showed up to school with a cast on his leg, and I was like, Mr. Petty, how'd you break your leg? Are you okay? Because I was like, how'd you trip? Or like, I don't know what happens. I was stringing up Christmas lights, and I fell off my roof.
Oh, sweet.
How's he stringing out Christmas lights?
Dude, he gets around. He gets everything done. And so we got a new principal. The principal was really mean. He didn't like her. So he cashed in all of his sick days that he hasn't taken in like 50 years of teaching and got 6 months off.
Oh, sweet,
And
dude.
went to India.
Oh, that's
Okay.
rad. Yeah.
Just added us all on Facebook and was sending us stuff that he was learning about India because it was world history class.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
it was cool, but we had the worst substitute that was so bad that my teacher from the previous year gave us the answers to our final test and asked me to share it with everyone.
Wow.
Sweet.
The American school system, guys. It
What
works.
a rad
I
dude.
was told by a teacher to cheat and to make sure all of my friends also cheated so that we wouldn't fail.
That dude's a
And
legend.
it was
fucking
I love this
fantastic.
guy.
Yeah, shout out to
yeah.
Mr. Petty.
Mr. Petty, where you
Uh,
at,
Oh,
son?
Mr.
You're the
Petty.
coolest.
Shouts out
You're
to
the
you.
only person that made world history look cool
Mhm.
because you actually studied the history of the world and you went places.
Yeah.
And great teaching job.
Respect,
On a-
bro.
All right, so
Wait, I want to say one thing about history teachers. We're gonna jump into Infinity War. I would like to say history teachers are usually the best because they make it like sound like a story, which I feel like a lot of other teachers don't have like the same passion that history teachers have sometimes.
I had an
It's just, like,
amazing
fucking
history
awesome.
teacher. I will say that.
Yeah, me too.
And he made every class like he basically like explained things to us like it was like the plot of a movie. Like you know when you like see a movie that you're really excited about and you're like explaining it to a friend like step by step and like all the symbolism and stuff behind each like scene. That's like what he did with history,
That's
and
Dude,
it was
honestly,
awesome. Yeah.
Shout out right now to any teacher that is actually passionate about what they teach. Because
For
if you
real.
go through and you do the actual research and you find what's fun about your subject where you can talk about it like it's a movie, you're an exceptional teacher, and what you're doing and how you're affecting other people's lives is going to make
It's true.
Yeah.
the difference when the world ends. So
Turns out
Thanks.
people that care make good things.
Also, this teacher would give me extra credit for making It's Always Sunny references in my homework. He gave me
Hell
like
yeah.
5 points if I put in like a
Hell yeah.
picture of Charlie with his rock flag and eagle like get up, and I loved it. He was a cool
Good
dude.
teaching.
Yeah.
Good teacher, right there.
so where are you guys at? Let's not skip that.
I'm
wanna
doing-
ask-
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. I'm doing okay. I'm losing all perception of time, which is as per
Same.
usual. Tyler, we were talking about this literally yesterday,
I
and then
didn't-
Tyler was
yeah.
like, "Are we still doing the podcast tomorrow?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, yes, we
Yeah.
are."
Yeah.
And it's like I'm feeling good now that I'm not in college anymore, but it's also like I don't have a structure anymore, which is really nice.
Well, do you want to talk about why you were in Jersey? Too?
Oh, well, I mean, I
Kinda
guess.
breezing over that.
I mean, I was at a funeral.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of.
Yeah, dude.
I'm just saying.
What transition is
Sorry.
that?
Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
That's funny.
I do have a very funny thing that reminds me of something funny that happened while I was there. I was sitting next to my sister. And she was looking at a meme, and it was just like she read the caption, so that's what she was reacting to. While I saw her was like looking at this picture of a chair in the hallway, and the caption was just like, "We all have that chair that was there in the hallway at this one specific school." And she was like, "Yes, yes," but all I saw was like her looking in a zoomed picture of a chair. She was like, Yes.
It's such a specific thing. I love shit like that. Yeah.
What? What are you looking at right now?
I'm just saying, dude, your coping skills are like scary good. Like,
Oh, you know.
That's frustrating me a little bit because like the other day, I did cry because I found out that someone who it was like a YouTuber or something, like their pet died, but like their pet had died like actually 9 months ago or something like that. Like when I just got to that video and like I got really upset about it too. Like it was like fish or something. It was something really dumb.
Yeah.
And like that got me, and you're just so like it's just I don't know. It's you've got very good coping mechanisms.
And you got time for feelings,
I think
man.
you're doing a real good job.
Push them deep down.
Well, that's not good. Actually. Maybe I take that back. DJ,
No,
you want to talk?
I get very like existential
backtracking.
about things. Whereas like when people die, like I remember my grandfather died, and also guys, if you're waiting for the Infinity War thing, hold on just 1 second.
Sorry.
But like I remember when my grandfather died. I got the news, like, we were at the mall. I was at the mall with Mary, and we're just hanging out. And she's like, oh, yeah. I forgot why. My mom called her to tell me. I don't know why, but I don't know. But, yeah, I got the news, and I was just like, oh, man, well, that sucks. At least he's doing all right now. Whereas just, like, one of those things just like, there's nothing I can do about it. So, all right, just keep on trucking along, doing your own thing. Do your damn thing, and celebrate their life. But
Dude, you should be a therapist or something. You're in the wrong profession.
I
like,
know, right?
It's like you went you just skipped all the stages of grief. You were like, nah, fuck all of that.
Yeah, what's the
Going
point?
straight to acceptance.
No
It's
point.
fine.
Grief, garbage. Don't need it.
Stupid.
Just kidding. But this being said, I got to revisit New Jersey again after maybe a couple years of not going. Shit's bonkers.
What?
It's crazy.
What
Like,
happened?
So we were driving in the service, and like people would literally just be walking in the middle of the street, like not caring at all if they got hit by cars or not.
They're like, I want you to hit me.
Yeah,
Do it.
honestly, like we were like maybe less than a foot away from this one couple, and they were just like, yeah, and like not even looking at us. I was like, this is fine. Everyone there is okay with that.
That scares me so much.
And was it the place we were at? There was like a drive-by, like the night or like a couple nights before,
Sweet, dude.
like across the street, and I had pizza. That was fun.
Yeah, dude.
I got to eat my favorite pizza. I was excited about that.
We've all been there.
But yeah, no, it's just it's I forget how weird of a place New Jersey is sometimes. I love it though. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite places, and it gets shit on way more than it needs to. But because it's just a small New York, it's just a small like.
Teeny tiny little New York.
Not
huh?
that-
You made a lot of Jerseyans mad by saying that.
Yeah.
Why? What?
Does that okay? Because
Well, I'm saying no, not in the sense that it is New York, but in the sense of like people that shit on New Jersey love New York, but it's really not that different. Like the people are
okay.
different,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like the place itself is like it's a East Coast city.
Yeah.
It's just a smaller version of that with better people sometimes.
yeah,
but
but
you
it's
know.
like when people say Austin is like a little California or a little Hollywood or like the next
Yeah,
Hollywood.
that's
you know?
true.
People say, okay.
No, I'm saying that people say that is true.
Oh yeah, it is true that people say that.
Yes.
People who live and make films in Austin say that specifically. And
Yes.
they have no personal interest in why that would be the case, for sure. I'm sure it's totally unbiased science that we're the next Hollywood. We just gotta wait for that San Andreas.
Yeah, baby, San Andreas too, baby, coming in.
So anyway,
Wait, like the movie?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Were we talking about San Andreas the movie?
we don't have to. It's fine. I
Oh,
was just
okay.
talking about the actual. I was talking about the fault line that's gonna swallow Hollywood.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought you were just talking about the Rock San Andreas.
That's what I thought too.
You know the plot of that movie is the same as what I'm talking about, though.
Did
right?
not. Didn't
Nope.
see it.
Why would I know that?
You didn't see it?
No.
Didn't
Come
see
on.
San Andreas.
Wholesome family movie
Wholesome.
magic. I learned a lot about how to be a stepfather who flies a helicopter and saves the day.
Oh,
Dude, I
it's a
saw
good
some-
lesson.
The
Yeah.
Rock is picking good shit right now.
Dude,
Can I say? Because I saw a trailer for him, and it's not on TVs yet, I don't think. But there's like a trailer of him, like he's an architect. He's like just this jacked architect up like, this,
course.
like, giant like tower thing where everybody in this world lives. And then like also he doesn't have his like left leg, and like there's like a big thing where it's like the building gets taken over by these terrorists, and then he like bursts, like he has to run on this fucking scaffolding, but then like I think his leg comes off at a point.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
What's The Rock gonna do now?
Yeah, and it's just like The things that you pick shouldn't be good, but you're always good in them and make
Yeah.
them
What
fun.
happened? There's a writer somewhere that's dating an architect and wanted to make it look really fucking epic.
God, this is really cool.
I just imagine like I'd love it if every other architect was like the average architect, and there's just this beautiful photo of like everyone who works at the same architect firm. What the fuck is it called? I don't know. So
Architect house.
the building where the architects go. So they had like a family photo, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like all the normal like architects and then the Rock, you know, with a missing leg.
It's like the fan fiction of an architect where he wants to make himself sound cool, like in The Office when like Michael like writes that story about like him being a spy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Threat
I
Level
was
Midnight.
jacked.
Yeah.
I was so jacked that I was the coolest of all.
Yeah.
But you take that photo to someone and you're like, guys, actually, it turns out that someone in this photo probably killed the receptionist. It's like, wow, I wonder which one it was.
He's just like so jacked.
Like,
Looks
there's
like a
just
fucking
no
mountain of
reason
a
to
man.
be that intense and an architect.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
Spot the anime character, like or Spot the main character in an anime. It's like a bunch of normal kids, and there's like some person with like spiky like pink blue hair. It's like, oh, I wonder who's gonna be in this. The main character.
Some
in
like
this.
weirdly attractive like face injury. That's
Yeah.
a very common
yeah,
thing.
that's
It's like
true.
you have a scar, but it also like perfectly accentuates your eyebrow.
Yeah. It's just faint enough to be like attractive and at like
Uh-huh.
the perfect like angle
Yeah.
always.
It's not grotesque.
No, it's a
it
cool
never
scar.
is. It's not like it gets green scabs. Like,
No.
Because when I was in high school, I got hit by a car and I got a whole bunch of road rash from that. One of the spots where I got road rash was on my chin. 'Cause I actually felt like it was like slow motion. I slid on the asphalt on my knees and then I hit both of my elbows and then I was like, no, not the face, and then my face hit the
Damn.
Oh yes,
dude.
the face.
yeah, it was a whole fucking thing. I could do a whole podcast about like
That's
the
crazy,
minute by
yeah.
minute what happened. I remember almost
Let's
all
do a
of it.
bonus podcast of that. You just
Fucking
talk about how you
Yeah.
get injured by the ground.
Lost
Yeah.
episode. Or
It's a
something.
very
Lost
fun
episode.
episode to go through. But anyway, I was like, cool. I got like a face scar. It's pretty intense. It turned like booger green almost fucking
Ooh.
immediately.
Yeah.
And then it got all pussy, and it was
Ooh.
like you'd think you're going to like wipe sweat away from your chin, and then it's like orangey yellow pus.
Ooh,
Yeah.
stop it!
Oh man.
I had that
And then,
happen to
like,
me once. It was like, no, never again.
Dude, and the worst part was when the scab was like half off, but you don't pick it then. You do not pick
Ooh.
it then because you'll ruin the tissue around it. And so you just got to deal with this like piece of you that's just flapping off your face and like it gets caught on everything. You got to like think before you move.
It was.
awful.
I got punched in the face one time, and like part of my nose came off, and like
What?
yeah, like so imagine if you were to like cut my nose, right, and just like the smallest little baby knife in the world, and just like flap. So like this whole like not my left nostril, like the top of it was just like down to the meat, like cartilage of it.
You got fucking rocked then,
Yeah,
didn't you?
and I just went I went to class afterwards.
God damn.
I just sat down. I was like, well, I guess this is just what my life is
Whoa,
now.
you healed really well.
Thank
I
you.
can't
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
I
Can't see
motioned
it.
to you with the microphone. That's a great idea.
But I remember it happened. It was like the most irritating thing in the world because like I wanted to scratch at it, but I was like,
Did it look cool though?
it looked like I got punched in the face. I mean, as
That's
cool as that
exactly
is.
what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
Mine
like,
did not look cool. Mine
Oh,
looked
no.
like a scabby goatee.
Mm.
Like
no.
it was not. It didn't even. That's what I'm getting at the end of this. Is like in no way did I look cooler for having it, and
Oh,
that was what
no.
upset me the most.
You didn't get one of
honestly.
those fucking like head things,
No,
like
no
little bleeding,
forehead
forebleed.
injuries, No. No eyebrow cuts. No, I got a scabby goatee, and it was awesome.
You ever like? This is something very weird that I do, and this will tie back into movies, which will transition us into Infinity Wars. No, this is fun. But so you ever like get like injured or something, and you're like, well, I'm in immense pain right now, and I'm very sore. But like, if I was Indiana Jones, he's all beat the fuck up all the time, and he's doing fine.
And you feel like a wuss. Don't
Yeah,
You? Yeah,
and
I've
then-
been there.
And then you're like, well, I'll just push on.
Yeah.
Even though you probably have a grave injury that you should take care of.
I have almost the opposite problem of like it takes me painfully long to realize that I've hurt myself, like to the point where it's not healthy at all.
Ooh.
Like I've burned myself and then like shook in my hand for like 20 seconds before I looked black, and it was like, I looked back at my hand and it's like bleeding or something. Like,
Oh,
like
shit.
I don't realize that I get hurt until I'm super hurt.
You have like a good pain threshold then.
I guess so. Like after I got hit by the car, I log rolled 3 or 4 times into traffic. I thought I was going out of traffic, and then I tried to stand up afterwards. And then when I tried, it was like I tried so hard to get out of that situation because I felt awkward.
I just got hit by a car, but I'm so sorry,
I'm so
everybody.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You're probably trying to get home.
Oh, no.
I didn't mean to.
Aw.
No.
Did we discuss how you were hit by a car on the podcast? Is that something that we've discussed
Do we
before?
have to discuss it?
We
No, I was
discussed
just
it
for
now.
context. I just want to make sure
I
if we
thought
had it.
I was like, I got hit by a car in high school. Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
I
That's
was
really
running
it.
cross country, trying to get those extra miles in for health reasons, and
Hell yeah.
I pretty much ruined my, yeah. That was like when my health went over the edge, and I was like, because I had to, it's like, I was running cross country and I was getting in about like 2-3 miles a day. I was running a whole lot. I was doing workouts and stuff, and then I couldn't bend my knees for 2 weeks almost because it would just split the skin, you know.
Oh, God. And that's one of those injuries too, where you're just like you don't notice it until you can't use it anymore, and then you're like, "Fuck! I use my knees all the time. I
Yeah.
can't do a goddamn thing."
Exactly.
Dude, let me tell you. One, my sister had to help me shower, and I was like 15
Oh,
at the time,
no.
so
Yeah.
it was like,
The perfect age.
it was like,
Yeah.
we're both old enough to know how weird this is, but thank you so fucking much. Like, it was
Yeah.
like, it was one of those like, all right, I'm gonna have like, we've got a lifelong friendship now because we've now connected.
We're in
I
it.
know we're already sisters, but like this really put us over the edge.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Because I was just useless. I had to learn how to like limbo down to use the toilet because couldn't bend my knees.
No.
But then what also happened after that was when I landed, a rock got lodged inside my knee. So when I went back to running after letting the scabs heal, when I could bend my knees, I tried to go back to running because the pent up energy that I had after running 2-3 miles a day consistently for like 5 months and to like not working out for 2 weeks drove me up a wall.
Bet, yeah.
I was like so full of energy. I just wanted to kick my legs all the time because like they were just full of energy and I couldn't move them hardly at all.
Yeah.
So like I was so eager to get back to running. I started running almost like way too soon, like when my knees were still like leaking fluids and whatnot. And I felt something in between my bones and my knee, and it was a rock. A rock got lodged in between the ligament in between my 2 bones. It was originally just in there, and the doctor's like, it'll blister out, don't worry about it. But then it actually got lodged in like the ligament, and I had to get surgery to get it removed. And then I had a pretty bad scar tissue inside my knee, like on the internal, because I was running with a rock in it, and it was just kind of tearing stuff up. So then I was on steroids to get that back to like par, and by then there was just so much damage done to my knee that like it was breaking away when I like, you know, like bending backwards when I was running. I couldn't like really hold it, and I was starting to throw off my balance too, because when you're running, if you ever injure one side and not the other, you pretty much can't run until that's even again.
Right.
Because if you're leaning on the other side, then your hip is unaligned, and once your hip's unaligned, your spine's unaligned, and you can get like neck problems, which can lead to like jaw problems. Like it all works all the way up, and then once you're off balance, you could fuck up your ankles, and like it just, sorry, this is the most boring medical podcast you ever listen to.
Technically human. Medical.
Technically human. We're on a medical podcast today. But yeah, so what was this leading back to? Even
The rock.
no, it wasn't
at
a
some
cool
point.
injury.
No.
It was, that's the long and the short of it. It was like the lamest injury,
Yeah, that sucks.
and it wasn't fun.
Ugh.
Doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
It's scary though. Like I think about that, like how like you were saying, like this can affect this and this. Like one like thing gets like out of place of your body, like that could just fuck up the rest of you.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially when
years
you run,
later.
because it's a context.
Yeah.
Like you're in contact with yourself almost the whole time. But yeah, dude, people walking around in the streets like they don't care. Like they don't care.
Yeah.
Drives me
That's where this
insane
started.
sometimes.
Part of me just was
Dude,
just like, I
it's
understand it's
terrifying.
wrong to hit people with cars, but just like there should be a law where it's like if you're being an asshole about it, you get to get nudged.
Okay.
Like you don't get like full on
We should put
hit.
bumpers on our cars, and I think that too.
Dude,
I think that too.
I've been thinking about that for the longest time. I want like a big pillow on my car.
Yeah,
from
ever
the
since
front and the
Mad
back.
Max, I've wanted like spikes on the side of my car that I
Yeah.
can just be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, but not those douchey ones that like make it so you can't like be next to them in traffic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
because those are
Just from the
assholes.
front to the back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
dig that. And then like also have like a dude in the back that's ready to like jump on another car should need be.
Yeah.
And they're like pale white, and you pay them nothing, and they just do it because they love you.
Anyway.
Now that we've sealed that reference in.
Infinity War, guys.
Yeah.
We're finally
Wait, we
made
didn't
it.
ask Tyler how you doing.
Yeah. How you doing,
I'm
Tyler?
doing all right. I had a bit of a bummer day yesterday, but I'm
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
much better today. Saw
Capture
Infinity
cards.
War for second time last night, and that helped
Hell
out a
yeah.
lot, and it was a good time. So
Dude.
I got my gauntlet. I got my sick Iron Man cup
Oh, yeah.
from the movie
Dang.
theater.
By the way, guys, Tyler today is sporting a oven mitt
Mm-hmm.
that has the design of the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones on it.
And I'm looking at it now, and it's wrong.
It doesn't match.
And fuck you!
Did you know? But like, not your fault. Did you notice that?
Bye.
Tyler just tried to flip off you today.
No, I
with
was
an
I
oven
was,
mitt.
snap me
I
out
was
of his
snapping my fingers with the
Oh, I
gauntlet.
thought you tried to flip him off. I was like, that is the worst idea to do when you're wearing an oven
Oven
mitt.
mitt.
Flipping someone off with the other bits.
Trying to snap him in the out of it
dust.
in
This
the
is
dust.
fantastic podcast humor, guys.
All something you can't see. So we'll take a picture of it.
But
I'm
I
not-
got this
don't
from
know.
my Epic Loot
I'm-
Crate box,
Epic.
guys. It was
Epic.
epic and nerdy, and I love it.
It's real good. All right, so Allie,
Yes.
I remember the last podcast you were
Yes.
talking about you didn't love the movie. You thought it
Yes.
had problems.
Yes.
Let's get into that.
First
What's going
of all, so this doesn't come back to bite me, and I can at least feel like a good person tonight.
Uh-huh.
I would not have ever been able to write anything near what happened in Infinity War. It's such a fucking amazing feat that
Yeah.
it exists,
And that it-
they
Absolutely.
did such a good job with what they were given,
Exactly.
and the script that came out of it could not have been done better by anyone that I know.
It's
idea
something
that
that
it-
shouldn't have worked.
Yeah. Just the
It
idea that
shouldn't
it
have
works
worked, and
at
it-
all.
Yeah, the fact that it works and it's there and it coherently made sense is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I aspire to ever be someone who would take on a challenge that huge.
And with the pace, like the pace
Yeah.
like, keeps up the entire time, where it doesn't feel like 2.5 hours. Where it's just like, wow, you made 2.5 hours feel like an
It
hour
really,
and a half.
yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
They didn't.
But
they
no
didn't mess
movie
around.
is without problems.
True.
And this one has some problems that we're going to, like, the idea of even writing the comic book of this caused those problems. Like, these are deep, in-seated problems that just have not ever, ever, ever been fixed. And, like, they're just real problems for me, you know?
Okay.
One
up?
of which is what's cool about all these different movies and what makes them interesting is that they all have different bases for what's happening. It's not the same story of everyone, like, getting exposed to gamma radiation. It's not the same story of everyone finding an Infinity Stones and turning it into a human cyborg or being a normal human. And like everybody is not on the same level.
Right.
Like Captain America is a genetically modified human, right? There's not adamantium in him. There's not like I know
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
crossing
Yeah.
shit, but there's nothing not human about him, right?
Right. Technically.
Thanos is like a space alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different things that you're having fight each other, and they're totally on different scales, and it's frustrating when there's no reference for what.
What do you mean?
What? You know, like, one of the things I got super fucking frustrated with, and I fought people on this, because me and Cade should never be allowed to talk about anything. We just fucking fight about it. But, so, there's this scene where Thanos overpowers, the Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the big thing with the Hulk is you can't insult the Hulk because literally the Hulk could kick everyone's ass. Like, so easily. He is so much stronger than everyone. If you think he's not strong enough, fuck you. He's thought harder, and now he's stronger than that.
And his
Now-
anger, isn't it when he gets more pissed off, he gets stronger?
He gets
too?
stronger and bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't fight with it because you're just like, oh, but if he gets madder, he could probably do more. Or
Right.
you know, it's an infinite kind of thing. But you've just set up that Thanos can overpower that, which makes Thanos super fucking strong on a level of gamma radiation.
Yeah.
Skills.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
good.
Then
Yeah.
you have later, there's a moment, and I wish I could show a clip just to prove that it fucking exists, where he's like trying to close his hand or something, and Captain America stops him. So like Captain America just has a genetically modified human body, but he can beat out the gamma radiation. Like, and Cade's argument, which could be fair, was that Thanos gets strength when his hand is closed, and his hand was closed when he was fighting the Hulk, and it was open when he was fighting Captain America. But like, on what universe could you say this guy could beat the Hulk, but can get overpowered by Captain America?
He didn't necessarily get overpowered. It was just that he went to go punch Captain America, and he was like holding his own like barely against him, And it's not. I don't. I
and
thought
even in that case, he still wins. Like
he still like ends up like fucking up Captain America.
I just
there.
mean in a physics way, in strength and raw mass.
This is a comic book movie.
Also, I forgot what podcast I was listening to that brought this up. But they brought up the point that Hulk probably doesn't fight with all this power. Yeah. Because Hulk is like beats everybody up, and he's like so used to like being able to beat everyone up. So he probably just came at Thanos like not with his like full ability. Maybe, I don't know.
Also, I feel
I had problems with this movie.
Yeah.
Getting him.
This is another like comic book thing with the Hulk. Also, I feel like there's a clear difference between when Bruce Banner like accidentally gets angry, and then the Hulk comes out, and then the Hulk is like his own kind of entity, like in Thor Ragnarok, like he's just kind of permanently the Hulk, and the Hulk obviously has like his own kind of consciousness. So there's a difference between that and when Bruce Banner like intentionally turns into the Hulk and he has a little more control. So it's essentially like half Bruce Banner like controlling him. So the Hulk is like not unwilling to go, like he's just a unstoppable like rage monster, but because he doesn't have that like kind of human part of him like holding him back. But if it's like half Bruce Banner might be a little more hesitant to like just go like full rage or like let all that power out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now I kind of feel like we're drifting into a zone that you kind of get into when you're tackling something that has either scientific explanations behind it or a set of magic with rules. You know, there has to be rules to it for it to have any suspense.
Okay.
So like, I guess that we're kind of getting into the Harry Potter level of like, when people write Harry Potter fan fictions and stuff like that, they're like, oh, Hermione's so smart that she probably wrote a spell, and that spell could have made this happen, and it could have made, like, once you get into magic makes magic happen, and anything that we want to say is possible, you kind of defeat the purpose of having magic, which was to create a higher level of suspense, but it then can deplete that own suspense by not living up to its own rules. So that what was frustrating about this is like, that would be cool if that was explained, or at least was obviously pointed out. But like, because you've said it as like, it's the Hulk versus Thanos, who would win in a fight, and like, that's the intensity of this movie, and that's the draw to this movie. And if every opportunity, and there were a lot of opportunities where they solved it with actual rules and actual like problem solving, but like when it just turns into who can punch harder, it's really easy to lose enthusiasm for me, because I realized I was starting to realize a lot of the fights were coming out to who can punch the hardest. That's not what Infinity Wars sold.
I feel like there's a lot of things they did later in the movie, like with the scene where like Spider-Man and the Guardians and like Iron Man are all kind of teaming up on him, when they like found clever ways to do that, because they know they couldn't just like outpunch Thanos, where they use their webs and their gadgets and stuff. Movie. That was fucking cool. But
problem with that, in the Doctor Strange movie, a big part is the first thing he learns how to do is teleport, right?
Right.
The first situation he's in is he's somewhere and he needs to get somewhere else, and he's like, well, Tony Stark, how the fuck are we going to get out of here?
Yeah, I did think about that the second time through.
They completely ignor that.
Right.
It was never even like, can't you teleport? And don't you teleport every time we've met you this past? Like, just... That's their thing, the teleport. That's half of what happened in Doctor Strange. Yeah. And then the first problem that they put him in is that he's stuck on the ship hurling towards space, right?
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
Well, I think it's because he it's not like he can just like think it and it happens. It feels like they set it up to where he has to like do something with his he has to have like control of his hands. That's what I always got from Doctor Strange, because you see like every time he does anything, he's doing shit with his hands, and he got like bound up by that like creepy cool alien dude.
Yeah.
So I feel like he wasn't able to teleport like out from there.
I mean, like after when they're all out.
Oh, when they're all out and stuff.
And he's with Tony. And
well, they talked to. I remember they had that scene where they're like, "Yeah, we should get out of here," but Tony's like, "I think we should go and deal with this Thanos guy. We should go wherever this ship is going." And yeah.
Maybe it's jumper rules where if he hasn't seen it.
I'd have to rewatch that, because the other thing that I wanted to talk about was Tony. His opinion through a lot of this is, no Infinity Stones is better than an Infinity Stone on our side. So that didn't make sense either. Why? His whole thing was, let's get the Infinity Stone as far the fuck away from Thanos as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
So that's not a good motivation for him at all.
Well, this in the sense of like, if they destroy the Infinity Stones, then he can't do whatever he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do anything either, but then he can.
Why was that his motivation not to just teleport back?
What do you mean?
I still don't understand why when Tony, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange are on the ship alone, why no one uses Doctor Strange's teleportation skills.
Oh, I don't know. I guess that's a good question.
Could have sent Spider-Man back.
Just insert that like Bruce Banner thing where it's like, oh, I didn't think of it.
I think, well, for Tony, they had like their own agendas, like there was
But they wanted to get back. Like at one point,
Tony didn't.
But he wanted to send Spider-Man back at
But
the very least. But like, I'd have to rewatch because I think at some point, at least Doctor Strange is like, well, how the fuck are we going to get back? And the argument is not, well, can't you just teleport? It's something stupid like.
But then you don't have a cool fight scene later. You don't have cool scenes.
That's why I'm frustrated.
I feel like if you overthink things like that, you miss out on like some cool opportunities in the movie.
Can I add a thing that could fix the scene?
No.
Absolutely not. I'll flip me off with that goddamn bit. No, just like, what if like the scene wasn't around like how are they gonna get out of there, but how are we gonna stop this ship? Because I feel the idea of like them like, because he can't teleport a whole ship to my knowledge. Because the idea could be like, oh, they're on this ship and it's going somewhere, but we don't know if it's gonna like crash into something and like kill this like fucking planet, or something, or maybe like something like that.
Maybe
more.
I feel like it was set up like with a line like I was saying, Tony and Doctor Strange like had that conversation where Doctor Strange was kind of wanting to go back, but Tony was like, I think we should go and like face this dude head on before he like comes to Earth and like fucks us up and put people in danger.
I think I remember Spider-Man coming out of the woodworks and being like, "Hey man, we're here."
Yeah, he probably threw in a line like that too. He definitely had that line that I liked a lot where he was like, "You can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood."
Also, I'd like to discuss that really quick because I feel they've absolutely mastered Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man's great.
I fucking love Tom Holland. Like, I was pretty on the fence with Homecoming. I didn't like it the first time I watched it. That's not true. I liked it fine the first time I watched it. I didn't think it was the strongest Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Second time I watched it, I loved it. And now seeing him in this is like, this is how you do Spider-Man correctly. Like, they've done all the elements that they've been developing with the Raimi and web versions of Spider-Man and all the other versions, and finally making it into one big thing. Because I feel like with Raimi, it's like he had all the heart, but he didn't feel like that smart of a guy. And with the web, he felt like a smart guy, but he didn't have all that much heart. Sure. It felt like in scenes, like he was like completely smart ass and completely genuine on one side for Raimi. And now it feels like they're finally like coming together to make this thing where it's like, you understand his character from like the 15 or like 20 minutes he's on screen, like completely, and are like so heartbroken when he like, finger quotes, dies at the end of the movie.
Should we do like is this spoiler stuff?
We're fucking. We're
going all out. Hell
yeah.
Should we like skip to this part if you don't want spoil? I feel like everyone's seen it.
Yeah,
at
everyone's
this point,
seen
though.
it.
It's like the biggest opening ever
seen it, you don't fucking
right now.
Care.
Yeah, I'll put spoilers text up on the thing while its spoilers are happening, so they'll see. I'll make sure they know.
Yeah.
But,
Another thing that I think could be examined, but would be it's kind of like when your literary teacher says, "Why are the curtains blue?" And it's like, "Cause the blue ones were on sale, bitch." Like, or something like that,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, kind of in that realm, I felt like the conversation that Tony was having about the Infinity Stones and wanting them to be gone and destroyed and like unusable was very gun control-y.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone else kind of
Gun control. In what sense?
in the fact that Tony was saying it's better if no one has an Infinity Stone instead of if we have an Infinity Stone.
Okay.
But Doctor Strange and Captain America are saying, like, we need Infinity Stones because we're fighting Infinity Stones. And you can't just take out our Infinity Stones. That's not going to help our we need them to protect ourselves.
I don't feel like I remember that. I feel like Doctor Strange's like rationale was that like the reason I'm Doctor Strange and this whole organization that I'm part of is built around protecting this stone and making sure it doesn't like fall into the wrong hands. So that if I don't have that, like our purpose of our organization is gone. So we're just not going to do that.
I mean, how that could be paralleled to police force. You know, we train these people to use guns and we teach them how to use it safely and when to use it. So it should be in their hands.
I don't get that necessarily, personally.
Because if he's the only one who should use the Infinity Stone, because he does use it. It's not like he's protecting it to keep it away from ever being used. He uses it.
Yeah.
They use it all the time.
But
he
use it to protect it, though.
To protect it and to protect the human race. Just saying.
I am also a little confused with the gun control thing, but I vaguely see what you're getting
So Tony's on the side of more like he's kind of on the extreme side of get rid of the guns, or at least hide them away and keep them away from everyone, because no guns is better than guns on the right side, because it could obviously switch sides very quickly, and that's ultimately what happens, right?
Right.
And then I would say Doctor Strange kind of fits on the like cop sides of like, oh, we're allowed to have them because we've been trained and we're protecting them. It's kind of like assault rifles and like when you tanks and stuff like that. Like militaries are for sure allowed to have them because they need them and they can protect them and they know how to use them correctly. And that's kind of the argument that he's pulling too.
Well, it's a little different too because not everyone can have the time stone. You know, it's just literally just like one person that has it. It's not like they're mass making like the time stones that give to everyone in a country and stuff like that. Yeah, so I kind of see the parallels you're pulling there, but
it's more about the action of if you should have. It's kind of like Australia versus. It's the very extreme version of gun control, not the logical side of gun control.
I doubt the Russo brothers, their intent was like, let's do gun control.
I felt like it was so obvious that I could see, like, at least with some of the stuff that Tony was saying, I felt like it was almost like if you were looking for inspiration to write those lines, it would be very easy to go to gun control.
Okay.
I feel like the emotions and the arguments behind why they wanted to keep, destroy, or protect Infinity Stones are the reasons why people would want to keep, destroy, or protect guns. And it kind of, I felt like that parallel was at least, to me, I could see it.
Okay.
I think Tony's objective more, though, was about just keeping it out of Thanos' hands, because it seemed like what I got from the structure of the scene was they show up and they're like, there's this guy named Thanos, he wants to get the stones, and he wants to take out like the world, and he's a really bad guy. So Tony's just like, okay, well, if this guy wants them, just get rid of the stones then no problem. I don't think he was looking at it from like anybody in the universe getting it. He was looking at like this person in particular getting the stones.
Yeah. But like extreme anti-gun people, I mean, I don't speak for all of them or any of them or anyone at all. You know, but the idea is a gun in a room is a bad situation. You know, it's not like, I mean, personally, I kind of feel that I don't want to go get super drunk in a bar where anybody could have a gun.
Yeah.
You know, and that, or like I wouldn't walk into a room if someone said like one person in here has a gun, because it's like you don't exactly like it could get into bad hands. That's why I don't want people to have guns, is because someone crazy could have that gun and it could be used to hurt people. And I don't necessarily think that the pro of having a gun in a good person's hand is better than the con of having a gun in a bad person's hand. And that's exactly what that is, like, to a T what Iron Man's whole thing is, because he's like, I don't think us having an Infinity Stone is better than Thanos not having one. I think nobody having an Infinity Stone is always going to be better than possibly Thanos having an Infinity Stone. Which is kind of the same as gun control. You know, it's like, let's take it away from everyone so that bad people don't have it, as well as good people.
Sure. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. But just a little thing, if you want to score extra points with your English teacher this weekend, you can act like you thought about that.
Talk about gun control and Infinity War. All right. So what else? What other beef do you got with this movie?
So it's the Infinity War. It's the Infinity Gauntlet. You've put all these really cool world-ending names on everything, right?
Yeah.
And the pinnacle of the story is a paradox, though, and that's very Doctor Who does this a lot. They'll write in paradoxes because they think it's cool to point it out. It's like, ooh, that was a paradox the whole time because she never would have been born if blah, blah, blah,
Well, what's
blah,
the
blah.
paradox in this?
So if Doctor Strange never gives Thanos his stone, he never has the ability to kill half the population. But the only reason he does that is because he has seen the future and knows that's the only way for him not to do that. But he would have never done that if he hadn't seen the future and known that he was going to need to get the Infinity Stone and kill half the people for them to win. Because he says, I've looked at 25 million possibilities for what could possibly...
14,646, thank you very much.
Yeah. Something like that.
Thank you very much.
We're already talking about Infinity War on the podcast. You want to make this worse for us?
Allie, please don't put me in the locker. I don't want to go in the locker.
Back to your locker.
All right, okay.
Anyway. There. Yeah. So he sits there, he's looked up all the possibilities, and he's like, well, how many do we come out the other side? And he goes, 1. But then the whole movie pinnacles around that moment when he basically gives him Thanos the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
And then, the point that you're supposed to gather from his stupid, I've got 2 minutes to talk and I'm going to spend the whole time going, it was the only way. I'm going to be really vague and not just say exactly why I did this, even though it would take 4 sentences maybe. I saw into the future and this is how it happens. Trust me. I can see into the future.
I feel like he kind of says it in a way because it can be interpreted.
He definitely implies it enough
like
for the
Endgame.
average
Yeah,
moviegoer to understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But he also does not spell it out enough for to keep Iron Man from having panic attacks, and I worry about Iron Man sometimes because he gets panic attacks.
Well, maybe he needs to succeed.
Maybe, yeah, if you...
That's why I hate this so much. It's a paradox. It's a paradox that you could say literally anything you wanted and then just be like, oh, but Doctor Strange saw that happen, so that was the only reason that... it could be the next plot twist is Captain America has to give Thanos a blowjob, and then that blowjob distracts him, and then you steal the stones. You could say anything you wanted, and the only reason it would happen would be because Doctor Strange saw it, and it's the only way that they win. It is now such a paradox that almost nothing else really matters from now on.
I guess. I feel like the point of it, though, is just how is it gonna play out? Because we know obviously they're gonna kill some people. I know for a fact that I don't know for a fact because I work at Marvel. I'm pretty sure.
My dad works at Marvel.
I'm pretty sure that everyone that turns to dust, they're coming back. Obviously,
some of them have sequels.
Yeah.
They are coming back.
That
So
undercuts it a bit,
dumb.
but it
Dumb.
still hurts.
Yeah,
Don't give movie sequels if you're gonna kill them.
Yeah, that's
they haven't announced them though.
if this would have came out 10 years ago when we
Uh-huh.
and not everybody's not updated on what's going on, that scene would have been a lot more impactful. But because there's literal Twitter pages, hundreds of Twitter pages about updating on when this movie comes out and where they're at in the production stages of this, it undercuts it a little bit.
Yeah,
But
Marvel has officially confirmed at very least a Black Panther 2 sequel.
you know what? Despite that, I still cry every time I see Peter Parker turn in the dust and beg not to fucking die
that's,
out of existence.
Because that they're gonna come back, but at the end you're like,
it still hurts.
It's still upsetting to see, and I feel. Oh god, I had a point. What was I talking about? So the Endgame. So Loki, I feel is dead.
Yeah.
All the people that died in practical ways, I think, are actually dead. Gamora's probably
not
dead
from
forever.
the stone.
Yeah.
Loki's dead
if
forever.
Gamora comes back,
it's gonna be the Carter thing all over
get at
again, or
with
whatever
all
the
of
guy's name.
this.
Carson.
Is the writing rules I thought were going to be super satisfying, and in the end the writing rules are it's whatever they want to write. It's whatever they want to write, and however they want to write it, they could find a way to do it. There's no that's why I love shows like Game of Thrones and shit like that so much, is because the stakes are there. If someone dies, they're gone forever, and you care about them if they're gone. And sometimes their plots are never finalized, and that's something that you get in a lot of writings. Even after characters die, someone else comes in and finishes their plot because writers want to finish the plots. But it's so nice and it's so like aggravating, and it gives you real emotions when you actually know that Spider-Man is never gonna like go see his aunt again, and now his aunt has to deal with the fact that her sibling's child died on her watch.
But the thing is, we can still get that though in the next movie because they're not going to come back automatically.
But we all know,
and that's
we all
just
know, but the characters don't.
That's just a problem with comic books in general. For comics in years, like no superhero stays dead. You know, everyone.
None of what I'm saying in any way is fair to the writers or the people who worked on this. They're all fucking amazing, and you're great. But I'm being critical because
why not?
I figured you out.
I get
everyone in the fucking Bat family's died at a point.
Yeah,
I think literally every single one of them. They're all humans. Yeah. From my perspective, because we're all fucking, at least Tyler and I. You say you're not the hugest Marvel person, but like we're for the most part.
I'm in here with you.
Yeah, you know? We were talking about it on a podcast.
If all Marvel fans go to hell,
But so like we all have a base knowledge of what's gonna happen, like the fucking production cycles and shit like that. So like we kind of know that this isn't gonna be like whatever. But like
everyone knew it wasn't real going.
Yeah.
Not true. My parents, like my family, like when they saw it, they're like, oh my god! Like I was literally talking to my mom. I was like, Black Panther's gonna die. Like
there's
all this, but like the general.
There's young kids that don't know
that.
dick about what's going on, and they're gonna be scarred for at least until the next one comes out, probably.
Or until they get on Twitter.
Or until their parents assure them, like, look, I looked it up. It's fine.
Right.
You know?
To us,
but really young kids, I'm saying. Yeah.
To us, we know about it, and it's like it kind of ruins it a little bit, but the movie's still good.
Yeah.
So just imagine to someone that doesn't know about it, like at all, like the production cycle, like this is probably one of the dopest movies they've ever seen.
Yeah, dude, I would love like if I end up with kids, and I guess that's how I'm gonna say it from now on, because I feel a little bad if they exist later and they find me going like if I get stuck with kids, like,
they'll be like, that's
Mom.
about right.
Yeah. You didn't want me when you were 21. No, I didn't want you. Look at this. Anyway.
Bitch, what you thought?
I would love to take like a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old and a like.
Oh yeah.
Probably like. Put a 3-year-old in there. Why not?
Throw in a 3-year-old, a little toddler.
They're Amish, so they don't know what the hell's going on.
Their brains just melt.
I haven't let them look. I haven't let them look at anything digital for this time.
Yeah.
But I've now decided it's time to go back to the real world, and I sit them down on a couch and I just let them watch Infinity War, and that's the first time they see anything.
Would die.
It's like those videos of those kids that watch the
love that day.
That scene from Star Wars where Darth Vader's like, I'm your father, and they're like, what? That's fucking crazy, dude. And they like their minds look so blown, and it's such a pure moment. Yeah.
Just knowing out there's probably millions of kids right now having that moment with this movie.
Yeah, true.
I feel like any suspense that is created by this movie is immediately diminished by the rules of this movie.
That's kind of true. I'll give you
that's
that.
What frustrates me with that's ultimately my beef.
You know what though? It's not about the destination. It's about the journey
and
along the way.
It was a hella fun journey.
It was.
Lots of bright colors and explosions. Happy I spent money.
Actually, like creative fight scenes and stuff like that aren't just like you were saying earlier, like who can punch the hardest. Like
some really good one-liners. They turned around some actually good one-liners in.
Magic with a punch. Magic with a kick.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh, dude.
I like. I guess to wrap up whatever the last thing I wanted to say about that. The way I'm seeing this movie is like a mid-season finale.
Yeah.
You're like the season's not over, so you know things are gonna happen after the fact. But you're just like, oh, whoa, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly.
But I would argue I may not see the sequel.
Oh, that's dumb of you.
Because
Why?
it was like, because my experience with what I know about who's the strongest and who's gonna ultimately turn the tides of this, you know, that's to me, that's what's cool about this is you can do all the research, you can look at all the stats. It's almost like wrestling. You know? You can find out who's main
booked the strongest.
Yeah, who's the main players, who's got the sequel movies. You can look into all of that, and that's kind of what makes it fun. And you get to this point where it's like, all right, from what I understood, Hulk could punch the hardest, right? He had the most strength. He was a strong guy.
Depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah,
some say Spider-Man's the strongest.
Spider-Man has at least fought off Hulk
Yeah.
before. Has held his own against
That's
Hulk.
also adult Spider-Man, so we don't know where he like ranks up as a kid now. So
All right,
it's
bench
semantics.
presses. I feel like you fucking nerd. I feel like Hulk could do the most and
Right.
biggest bench press.
From establishing the MCU, Hulk is most likely the strongest.
So then they bring on Thanos, and with the gauntlet, I now feel like he can do the most bench presses.
Mm-hmm.
So now it turns out that possibly Captain America
Mm-hmm.
could do some more bench presses at some point, maybe. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I've
pretty
hated
strong.
Captain America since the first Captain America movie. He's a terrible fucking character. Everybody
Really?
should stop caring about him. Everybody should stop making movies about him. I
Wow.
don't actually feel this way. You can like what you like. But
God damn, I didn't know you felt this strong about Captain America.
I'm not here to change other people's opinions, but yes, I do personally feel this strongly
Why?
about how stupid of a character design that is.
Why?
He's just a little bit stronger. And he's got a tiny fucking shield. Shoot him in the legs. I don't give a shit.
I
Like,
mean, but that
and then
makes it
when
a
he's
cool
fighting
character,
the
though.
aliens with razor sharp teeth, not a single one goes for the calf. I've fought a lot of dogs in my life.
They're
I'm just
dumb
saying.
aliens.
No, they go for the ankles, man. Dogs go for the ankles.
That's all they can
first.
reach.
Yeah, and so the shield does jack
He's got like
It's over
armor
here
and
by
shit
his
on.
fucking face. And like machine guns just go like, oh, is that a star? Like just try to hit the star the whole time. They forget the shield. Shield fucking blocks bullets.
Could you also say the same about Wonder Woman?
I could say the same about Wonder Woman.
Okay. Could
But
you
she
say?
has-
That's it.
Here's the thing, though.
Mhm.
They introduced an element that they don't introduce in Captain America, and that's fucking magic, dude. She's blessed by the gods. She's literal divine energy on her side. And
But
Captain
bullets
America,
do phase her, though.
Captain America would need some extreme divine energy to
Well,
get away with the shots that he's gotten away
If you want to
with.
get philosophical on this shit,
And you know we
if
do.
if Doctor Strange is able to look into the future and be able to see how everything plays out,
You can
that
aim the
means-
bullets
that means-
directly at Captain America's shield for all of his life.
no, don't
And
you
make sure nobody
do
ever-
this.
Make sure he never gets a knee injury.
If he's able to see into the future and see everything that happens, that means that time is predetermined and things are already determined to play out a certain way. So in this universe, this timeline where everything's already laid out, then that means this is the timeline where the beasts don't bite him in the calves and nobody shoots him in the legs and things like
You're
that.
fucking right. This is the smartest thing. Captain America is so great. You're fucking dude. Come on.
Oh,
you know
damn.
you know the words that are coming out of your mouth right now.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
All right, so like, I want to get your guys' opinions on this because I do feel a certain way about the Doctor Strange thing. Do you think that the plan that's going on right now is part of the plan that was originally thought of? Because Peter Quill fucks up the original plan.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys think that was him fucking up was part of the plan?
I think it was
Wait, when
good.
does Peter Quill fuck up?
When they have him, they're about to get the gauntlet off him about halfway through, or a little more than halfway through, and then like he finds out that he killed Gamora, and he was like, "What did you do with Gamora?"
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
like, "Oh, it's like she died," and then he was like, "Well, he came back with the Soul Stone, and she didn't, so she's probably dead." And he's like, "You son of a bitch!" He's like punching him in the face and like knocks Mantis off of him.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and starts fucking him up.
I think it was meant to happen because this is ideally we're seeing the one universe where this works out, which we know it's gonna work out for everyone. So everything that happens is supposed to happen in this particular timeline.
Yeah, this whole conversation is driving me absolutely insane. It's inside my head. It's like that SpongeBob episode where there's an alarm going off and everyone's just throwing papers and they're like, "What's his name?" I don't understand.
We got rid of
any
math.
anymore. I don't. I get exhausted by these kinds of conversations because it ruins the stakes for me. You know?
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care that anything's happening if it all is happening because Doctor Strange saw it that way. If that's the only reason characters are going to have to exist, they should all, like, they're all part of the Matrix and they should all jump off a bridge, but they won't be able to because Doctor Strange didn't want them to. It's all mind control, and it's all, like, it turns into just a god playing with puzzle pieces and being like, and then he punched him, but then he punched him harder, and he punched him harder than that. And, like, this is where it gets so exhausting is, like, no matter what they added to this giant melting pot of shit, whether it was magic, whether it was divine energy, whether it was genetic modification, whether it was gamma radiation, all this shit, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's all exactly as you said. What
Isn't that just writing though? Isn't that just Deus Ex Machina? Like,
Yes.
why does he survive
But that's
this?
the
Because it's in the
problem.
script. It's in the story.
But I feel it's also it's the design of the type of movie that they're making here, though, because
I
it's
just-
like this is at the end of the day for small children. As much as we enjoy it, like they're making it for small children. So like the idea, like we're not gonna see an episode where like SpongeBob gets like fucking stabbed in the heart, you know, and
then
just
he'll get
dies.
PTSD.
Yeah, and
Even
they'll
though
just have to deal
Tony
with-
Stark literally gets stabbed.
Yeah,
True.
But,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is they are advertising as a conglomerate, huge pile with all of these rules that they've taken meticulous time to write out the backstories of and explain, and they've made these rules permanent and they've put them down in stone. And then at the end of the day, none of that mattered. All of the research that people have done, which I guess it's not research, it's just watching a fucking movie and I should learn how to have fun. But it feels like research when you know all these statistics and you know all these different things about the characters, and then when it doesn't matter, like it just feels like, to me, it feels like someone is playing peekaboo and is like, oh, just got you, none of it matters. Like all this that you care about, all these characters being there, all of that doesn't matter. Because what matters is Thanos gets all of the stars. Or whatever, sorry.
Yeah. He gets all the fucking stars, and then he puts them in his gloves.
Yeah, and then he wins Mario Party, and everybody hates him.
Yeah.
It's a Mario
He
Party.
got the mini battle star. That's the shittiest one. I hate that one so much. Oh, you got the luckiest? Nice. Anyway, because the Master of Time fucking knew it was gonna happen, you know? Like, and that's why I don't think the sequel is gonna be that interesting, is because they're also introducing Captain Marvel, right? I don't know a whole lot about Captain Marvel except that it's probably not going to be the Muslim girl that it was in the comic books for
It's
a little
gonna be the
while.
That's the new.
before her.
That's
and I wish it was her.
that's
Yeah.
the, yeah.
Because
That's
she's
the
a new one and
She's
she's fucking awesome.
She's
She
gonna
is cool.
be in the one in like 5 years from
Yeah,
now. When
yeah.
they introduce Miles Morales, because they've already set him up. Once they get like, because they're, I don't know what I was listening
She
to,
is
but I
cool,
heard some fucking
yeah.
podcast about it. From what I understand, what Marvel is doing right now is like kind of like finishing up our generations of movies.
Yeah.
And just like giving us that, and then like throwing in, while we're finishing up that, hints of what's gonna be next. When they like their plan to establish Miles Morales as Spider-Man is to put him in like the cartoon version where kids are gonna see him and they're gonna associate that's Spider-Man to me, like the same way we watch Justice League.
Yeah.
And Jon Stewart, to me, is Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Hal Jordan until like fucking like years
I
later.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, same
You know,
here.
Yep.
so I think that's what they're trying to do. They're gonna like introduce them in increments, so that when kids grow up, they're gonna have a black Spider-Man or a Muslim Captain Marvel
Hell
or
yeah.
whatever you want.
Hell fucking yeah.
It's just a waiting game at this point.
Yeah,
But-
but and that's cool and everything. But at some point, they either need to burn their rule book or fucking figure it out. Like Thanos should have kicked someone's ass, and he kicks no one's
He
ass.
kicked everyone's
Yeah,
ass.
Okay, he wins fights, but all of the fights come down to stakes and come down to like it's intense and it's a battle and it's like they almost get him. Almost everyone almost gets Thanos.
Because
But
that's
it takes almost
it's
everyone,
exciting.
But that's what I'm saying though is like it's almost not exciting because you could see the same thing happen because everyone like is it true that everyone is equally matched to fight Thanos? No. Like that
Yeah.
should be the truth. They've kicked each other's asses. Civil War was an example of how you pair characters
Yeah.
with how it would actually be interesting to see them fight and who would go after who based on skill level. And this is now someone with an infinite amount of skill level who is like making it easier for the characters with less power and then going tougher on characters with more power, but still resulting in the same kind of fight.
I think I see what you're saying. Maybe.
I'm still a little confused, honestly, but I'll nod my
It's
head
cool.
about it.
It's a huge like it's such a butthole complaint
No,
because it's so
yeah.
everyone can figure out that that's exactly what's happening. It's just frustrating to me
Mm-hmm.
that they play this huge game of like we've got all these rules and we've got all these reasons and we've got all this backstory and we've got all these characters and there's so much going on that you need to know to be in this, but the more you know, the more frustrating it gets. And that's fucking rude.
It's rude.
It's fucking rude, guys.
To parlay this conversation into like something similar to it,
Yeah.
which I feel like I'll know your answer based off our conversation we've had. But this whole MCU thing has been going on originally was supposed to start with the Raimi version of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but couldn't because of a technicality
Yeah,
with Wolverine. But like this has been going on since around like 2008,
Yeah.
right? And it's now 2018. It's been a decade of Marvel movies.
Yep.
Do you think this was the beginning of a satisfying ending to this phase of Marvel? Because I'll say for right now, for me, I feel like it was very satisfying. I had a great time. It was everything that I wanted it to be.
I was telling DJ last night, there's like a lot of moments in this movie where like I got kind of emotional just because like growing up with superheroes and superhero movies and like just seeing like all these scenes of these characters that like being from separate movies and like actually seeing them interact with each other, and not only like just seeing them interact is satisfying enough, but having them come up with like entertaining and like fun and creative ways for them to fight with each other or like work off of each other's like powers and skill levels and stuff like that. It was pretty great on its own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And, and I almost wish there was more of that too. That was really great. I would not. It's hard to look at the big picture of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and say that I'm happy with it, because there are so many problems with putting so many different rules together. And that's just like what's going to happen when you build something that complex. But I guess my problem is I find it to be, it's kind of like a game on your phone, when like it's like, oh man, I have 8,000 cookies and I have a cookie factory and I make 500 cookies every day.
Work damn hard on those cookies.
Like stuff like that, and then you realize at some point it all means nothing. And I guess for me, and that's not the same for everyone because people get different stuff out of these movies. Me, who likes researching and likes numbers and likes reasons and likes fighting, I like arguing, I like all of these things, I don't find it that interesting that one person punches harder than someone else and that's the end of the game, So all of the reasons that you like it, I totally agree with and I totally liked it for, but to me it was such a hollow victory because it also spent less time caring about the rules of the universe, which it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, it's a universe. People talk about it. It's the goal for people, filmmakers today. You know, it's what people want to. It's
what every other fucking studio is trying to make right now.
Yeah, it's every creator's dream to make something that is that big and complex and amazing and cool. And it's to me frustrating that it doesn't lead to any new information, I guess.
Okay.
To me.
I have to I will say respectfully.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Guess what? Snap. Bye bye.
Oh, there goes
See ya.
Allie.
But,
No,
yeah, okay, the other thing everyone needs to realize, I grew up with no media, and I'm dead inside. So
No.
pretty much here just to ruin everyone's childhood.
I see where I see where you're coming from. I just like respectfully disagree as like someone that like grew up with this. There wasn't like any point like after watching these movies over the years where I didn't think they like adhered to like any movies like universe or like rules that they set up in each thing, whether it's like the space side of Marvel or the magic side of Marvel or the down to earth espionage soldier side of Marvel,
Okay. But that's my first question. My first problem that I ever had with this. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Oh no, that's just
Totally.
that's it. I see your gripes for it, but I also just feel like it's if you like it's like with time travel movies, like you can overthink like almost all the events in like Doctor Who or Back to the Future and anything, and like point out like why it wouldn't work. Yeah. You can point at anything.
I'm sorry. No.
Listen,
no.
I'm not talking. I'm not. Fuck Back to the Future.
Keep its fucking name out of your mouth.
I'm not talking. I'm saying with anything with time travel, you can overthink it, and point out why like this won't work, but then you don't have a movie.
Yeah, but when you're using the rules that they set, and you can look at Doctor Who and look at any like year one physics book and be like. No.
Yeah.
Time and space
exactly.
don't fucking work that way. But when you open the Marvel Cinematic Book of information and you're like, this doesn't add together to create what you're creating. I mean,
I didn't
it's
get
like I
that
got you.
at all.
Like, I fucking got you.
Yeah.
You messed up.
Huh.
But one of the problems I have, Captain America's shield. It goes from being a very cool shield to a bouncy ball that magically bounces back to his hands every time he throws it precariously at anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wouldn't work in real life.
That's comics.
That's comics.
It's not
tell.
magnetized. I think later they come up with
Maybe.
a reason why
It's
like,
got some
later,
shit in it.
They
yeah.
missed a movie where they don't explain, and there's a scene where he walks in, and Scarlett Johansson's behind him, and there's a door closing, and he tries to throw it to catch the door, and then it doesn't catch the door. It bounces off the door. It bounces off 7 more things in the room, and then back in Captain America's hands, and he doesn't fucking blink.
You know what?
He's like, whoa, did you see that? Like, that's what should have happened. Yeah. It was so ridiculous.
It's not realistic, but you know what it is? Cool. It's fucking rad.
The thing with
does metal bounce off of metal?
Okay, I'm gonna talk about this right now. The reason that is, and the problem with some comic book movies is that they've had about like 70 years of people being like, yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
And so when you're making the movie, they're like, yeah, obviously it does that. But they don't like think about like giving the exact reason. Like with Spider-Man's webs. Why is it that we just accept like, yo, what the fuck? He just gets to spray web. Like, who cleans that up? Does it? How strong is it? Sometimes it's super strong. Sometimes you can cut it. Some like people just like there's things that you just kind of like accept as like a person that like likes those things.
You have to have suspension of like disbelief.
Yeah. But when your movie revolves around it too, because that's the thing about this movie, and that's the thing about Captain America is like Captain America is the coolest soldier. So his fighting technique is an important part of his character that needs to have fleshed out rules that give you some kind of suspense of like, oh no, Captain America can't do that, but you don't ever know that because he does new things in every movie.
Well, I feel that's the part of his like growth though, especially with Captain America. I feel like his if you look at his fighting style from the first Captain America to his fighting style now, it's like has expanded so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like his thing is like he's like they're all characters that are constantly growing. Like
it comes with experience.
Yeah, Bruce Banner's like at the beginning in the Incredible Hulk when he was Edward Norton, and we don't need to talk about it, is like very different than how he is now. Like his abilities from then to now are very different. In Iron Man, like you look at his suit, like he had to like fucking figure out how to put his suit on in the first one. Now it's like nanomachines.
But they explain that, and that's the other thing. They take careful time to explain those
in another movie.
In other movies, and then they don't in some. So this suspension of disbelief and this like you're watching a movie, shut up and be happy, that doesn't work with this because they've taken so much time to explain why characters do anything and can do anything and like why they're doing what they're doing and all of their individual backstories, and that's beautiful, and they painted this tapestry, but they don't adhere to it always, and that frustrates the hell out of me.
I didn't get that though. I did respectfully I didn't think that. What about it?
It's never explained how it bounces or how that works or why it evolves better.
I see
But
what
if you
you're
pair that
saying.
with the suit, it's explained. It's explained why he got better at doing it. It explains why he wanted to do it that way. It's all explained.
Well, if you think about it with their characters, it makes sense in that way where it's like we don't ever talk about at what point did Tony Stark get Wakandan tech or how he got it. But we understand that Tony Stark, like, we're okay with his suit evolving each one because he's an inventor. Right. We're like, okay, yeah, he's probably doing that while we're not looking at him in these movies. And I feel it's the same thing with Captain America, where it's like, he's a soldier. He wants to be, like, the best soldier. He's got little man syndrome from when he was a little guy.
Yeah, little guy.
And he would most likely be like, all right, I'm going to practice to be the best with this shield. And I'm going to make sure that I can, like, fucking bounce from over there to there to there and, like, catch it in my hand and shit like that. And I don't know.
But he never takes the time. They never take the time to show him. Like when they show him practicing, it's like him against the punching bag. They have that scene, and he still boxes and he does stuff like that. But like I feel like if Captain America was taking extensive time to understand the rebound effects and the angle of impact with a circular shield on a metal door that's moving, and if he's going to take the time to go into a room and survey all the flat surfaces that his shield could bounce off of, and that if he determined the circumference of a tree so that it would bounce off of in the forest and come back to it. I feel like if all of that was happening, it would be somewhere in his dialogue that he was that smart.
I suppose this comes back to a discussion we were having last night, actually, with because we just saw it last night, and this is a minor regret that I had with the movie myself.
I'm so sorry. Can I please use the bathroom?
Yeah, okay. You use the bathroom, and I'll talk about the thing we were talking about yesterday.
Okay. I'll be right back.
So with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything different about Scarlet Witch?
Was it the same actor?
It was. She didn't have an accent this time.
I thought it was a totally different actress the whole time, and I was like,
No.
"Who the fuck is that?" The whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole movie.
Yeah.
I was saying that.
So she doesn't have an accent in this movie. They don't talk about it, and that to me is more troublesome to me.
Yeah, she was like Russian or something.
Yeah, she was Russian, but I guess in this movie she's like masking it or whatever. And Tyler and I had a big back and forth about this, and we'll talk about it more so when he gets back. But she doesn't. They never talk about why or like how she's masking it or why she masks it even when it's just her in vision. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But it can be argued that like, oh well, she spent a lot of time in whatever country
Or
and like
she's
adapted,
magic.
or she's magic.
And she magicked away her accent.
That's possible too, but then again, it's like the kind of thing to why, where it's like I feel that's an example to me of like what you're saying, where it's just like fucking why. Like
But
there
it's on
is
bigger scales though.
That's what I'm saying. Well, it's on bigger scales, but through its bigness, I feel with those characters, you get such a feel of who they are that you can, like, it makes sense to me that it would happen like this. We have had so little time with Scarlet Witch and Vision that's a big problem to me. Not big, but minor problem to me that I had with this movie, that it's like, I understand that they're supposed to be together through, like, hearing about it through comic videos and stuff, but, like, at what point did we discuss that they're romantically involved or have even, like, flirted all that much?
Yeah.
Because it's like what, like they don't talk about that, and it's like yes, I understand, but you are getting a little too ahead of yourself. Or you need to show at the very least that that's gonna start happening.
Okay, but if you can,
What's going on?
The Scarlet Witch Vision thing.
With their own accent.
Yeah,
Okay,
but then also
so
the relationship in general
Sure.
too.
if you can agree that a relationship needs to be defined, don't you think an overall understanding of physics with a shield needs to be defined?
But at no point
Or
it
a
feels
fighting, like literally his fighting style, like that would have made such an amazing scene if you had him with Falcon and he was going over the techniques he used for fighting back in the 40s, and he's like, no, don't hit with your head, that'll give you a concussion. And he's like, what's a concussion? You know, like if there was cool reasons for why that changes, and it wasn't just like, shit, we forgot that Captain America's a shitty character with not a lot of power, so we gotta make him look cooler.
I think it's a thing that you would get that if this were a TV show. Like some would argue that it is, but
yeah, I also think though that Captain America has been for a long time a response to people liking Captain America. That's why he's still around.
Okay.
I don't think he was ever supposed to get to the level that he's at.
Okay.
And I think it's a little embarrassing that nobody's tried to explain why he can run with the big dogs, because it doesn't make sense to me.
He's on super steroids.
But it's just super steroids, and he's fighting aliens, and
He has the willpower too. They established like over all of his movies how like even when he was a little guy, he was willing to stand up to the characters that were bigger and stronger than him. So it's not just that he has like this super
that's
strength.
not even original too. Like Gamora
Nothing's
has
original
that
ever.
in the universe though. That's not even specific to him.
Well, they're in different ways though. Gamora and like Captain America's willpower aren't the same. Like Gamora is usually based off of pride.
Sister too.
Yeah, Nebula. Well, theirs is
She
more
got her.
based
She
off
had little
of.
guy syndrome.
She did, but hers is more based off of wanting to be the best. And I feel Steve Rogers is like, I just want to protect the people that I care about, kind of thing. Or they both kind of come from the same road but divot.
I'm
ways.
going to stop here though, because I've got a whole argument on the psychology of Captain America and how it doesn't reflect his actions at all.
You should do a video essay about it. Put on the
I don't care enough about his life to put together a video essay about Captain of fucking America. Like,
Alright.
for how much I know about Captain America and how much I've built this argument, you would think I'd care enough to make a video essay. Because I've had nights spent arguing about
Just
Captain
throwing
America.
knives in a fucking picture of Captain America, Chris Evans' fucking face.
Well, because someone brought up, because I don't even hate Chris Evans. I fucking love his
such a
acting.
charming man.
It's seriously amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and all of this has nothing to do with the people that go into produce
You're just
movies.
fucking
I'm gonna
weeping
start
listening
again.
to this
I
because you know
fucking-
Chris listens.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm so sorry that you're here right now. But I guess my thing with all of this is like looking back over those movies and looking back over all of it is like he's just on steroids. And the argument that someone brought up that was a pretty cool idea, interesting thing to possibly go into, but extremely an ex machina, is that the steroids could have worked on his brain and could have made him smarter.
Okay.
That's never explored.
It's never explored, but you could.
But he was using that argument for why he understands physics naturally and why he can naturally understand the circumference of a tree to make it bounce off and hit back for a really cool intro shot where everyone's lined up on the forest. Very believably cool.
I think they had a good scene like that in the first movie where they set it up. I feel like I haven't seen the first movie like since it came out, I think, but I feel like I remember a scene of him throwing the shield, like seeing it bounce off something, and then he catches it, and he's like, whoa, I can do that? Yeah. Oh, okay. And then, and then he has, like, montage scenes and, like, also, like, 2 or 3 other movies of him, using it and getting that experience. And I feel like...
He also have, like, a metal
you'd have
plate
to
or
show
some
me
shit?
an actual scene before I ever believed that happened.
Okay.
Because, like, my biggest issue is I've never understood the rules of Captain America because they change so much. And, like, that's one of the biggest things that upset me was I never understood why the shield, like... got extremely amplified between movie 1 and movie 2. And there is that scene where he loses it, and then Black Widow picks it up, and she has that cool line about, like, I'm picking up after you guys, but she gets it back to him. That was explored once. And you're telling me it can happen. He can lose it. He can drop it and not be able to retrieve it, but it only has happened once? Ever?
I don't know. I haven't seen the other movies, like at least the first movie, enough to understand. I think we might just have to make this agree to disagree kind of thing.
Definitely agree to disagree on it, for
think.
sure. But
okay, so now that we're talking about like a writing thing, and this could be the last thing we talk about for anymore, but I thought it was super interesting that we had a hero's journey with Thanos. I thought that was probably the best way to introduce that villain, because I was going into it, it's like, they're not going to be able to fucking do anything with this character. They've hyped him to all hell for, like, the better part of a decade. There's no way they're going to do anything with him.
I thought so, too. I was real worried.
Yeah, like a super interesting villain.
Yeah.
His motives are clear.
His motives are clear. You understand where he's coming from about it and, like, why he's wanting to do it. And, like, we see him, like, the first person we see on screen, last person we see on screen. And, like, by screenwriting rule, the first person you see is usually the main character. So you, like, have that. He goes through a struggle by trying to get the Infinity Stones, goes at his, like, lowest of lows when he has to kill Gamora. And then, like, at the end, he's, like, sitting on the place that he's returning home. He's returning whatever.
With his mission accomplished.
Yeah, which is, like, a super, like, whatever version of Hero's Journey. But I thought it was, like, that was a cool way. And you got to know this villain as was going on and still got to have the Avengers movie that we all wanted. And I thought that was really cool.
Oh, yeah. I thought Thanos was a pretty cool... Because, like, I mean, his argument, too, is also one of those, like, it's a very real and serious thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's talking about genocide, and, like, the only difference between him and Nazis is that he's not singling out a group to be chosen, which
random.
Literally makes him better than Nazis.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's like,
it's not personal,
there's not
it's
great things you can say about Thanos, but better than Nazis is on it.
yeah.
Thanos better than Nazis.
True.
He treats everyone equally. He don't care if he's
Very
Spider-Man.
true.
He's gonna fucking kill all of you. It's great.
Yeah.
And like, that's noble.
Yeah.
And it's weird to think of Thanos as noble, but like,
in his own
efforts,
story, he is noble.
Yeah, in his efforts, he is, he could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
He could have been like, I hate everyone who's not green and blue, like me and my children.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of appreciated, like, building off of that, too, is, like, he doesn't, like, he could have totally just, like, wiped out, like, all the superheroes that were in his way and stuff like that. But, like, his mission wasn't to wipe out, like, all these superheroes and all the people. Like, he understands why people are getting in his way about this, but he's just wanting to get to his goal. He doesn't have, like, a vendetta out against any superheroes or anything like that.
I also like how he completely understands that no one's on his side and
Yeah.
is cool with it.
Yeah.
And like,
It's like, all right, fuck
my
it then.
dream as a human being is to understand that
Yeah.
no one's on my side and do it anyway.
Your
Yeah,
dream is
yeah.
to be Thanos.
Yeah, a little bit.
One day.
If it was a choice between being Captain America and Thanos, I'm just
You're
saying.
just like little Gamora's like, yeah, what you're doing is actually right. Yeah, I want to be like this guy. Come on, Purple Papa. Let's go into the universe.
Purple poppy.
Purple poppy.
Purple. I said it was blue earlier.
Well, it changes depending on what movie you watch.
Depends on the light. I noticed that in this one too. It depends on the lighting, because like when he's out in the
Okay.
sunlight, it's like a little lighter purple. But when
Mhm.
he's in like the dark like cave where the throne is with
It's like
Gamora,
indigo.
he's like deep kind of purple.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Like in I don't know, whatever the after credits scene so many years ago when he's like in the chair. And
Yeah,
stuff like
where he
that.
looks like
yeah.
straight up blue.
Yeah. It's like
Straight up blue.
straight blue, dude.
Dude,
Straight Papa
can we
Smurf
talk
in it.
about how
Bah,
cool Loki
bah.
was in this movie, though?
Huh?
Camel?
Loki.
What the fuck did he do?
Loki was fucking cool in this
What
movie.
did he do?
He tried to kill Thanos right off the bat.
Yeah.
He was like, I am the god of mischief, and I don't even want your ass around. Like,
Yeah.
that's so fucking cool.
Like,
Are
you're
you
a problem.
kidding?
Yeah.
He turned down the best like opportunity for mischief that he has ever been given, and that's
True.
character growth. That's the Loki that I love. That's the Loki I wanted to see. That's the Loki we got. And you guys are trash for saying you're glad he's dead.
Listen, man. I'm not.
I didn't say I was
saying that
glad he was dead.
I said I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah. So
I said it.
then I'm sorry, Tyler.
Oh,
Sorry.
also, what
DJ, you're fucking
He's been
trash.
taking up too much goddamn space in this universe.
He's amazing, and that's why.
They made one good villain character up to that point. And they just used him over and fucking over.
He
again.
did pull that epic prank where he brought all those aliens and soldiers to New York to like destroy it and put thousands of
fucking
people
got
in
you.
danger.
And then he was
Just
like,
a little
"It's
trick.
prank, bro."
Just a trick. A little mischievous trick. Yeah,
No,
you know.
because what's so it's like Thanos.
That epic prank.
It's kind of like Thanos, where it's like a little bit noble that he goes up to someone and is like, "I am the god of mischief."
Yeah.
Which is
I have-
hilarious in general.
I'm known for lying. I'm known for betraying.
People trust
I'm
him.
known for cheating.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of like, "All right, well, can you help us, bitch?" And he's like, "Don't say I didn't fucking warn you."
Yeah,
like,
it's like the fucking scorpion and the frog. It's like,
I'm a
Listen,
fucking
my
scorpion.
nature.
What do you
it's
want
my
me to
nature,
do?
dog.
Literally.
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
It's what I
Shit.
And that's so honest.
Yeah.
You know, I wish everyone was as honest.
All right. So from what I'm noticing, what happens to you to
Don't
make a
open
good
this.
character
Don't open it.
Uh-huh.
is
Don't open
Uh-huh.
this box, DJ.
they need to be a
Go
little
ahead,
into
DJ.
genocide.
Yeah.
Don't care what people
No.
think.
Uh-huh.
No. Genocide is not a requirement.
I'm just saying, all the people that you've listed have been a little
Two-
into genocide.
Two out of two characters that you said you actually like have tried to commit genocide.
That you
at
said you
one
wanted to
point.
be like.
I feel like I've only named 2 characters that I like.
And they've
Yeah,
all
2
been
out of
genocide.
100% of them have tried to commit
1 plus
genocide.
2 makes 3, motherfucker. I'm just saying.
Okay, but you know, there's a lot of characters to talk about liking, you know.
That's true.
Because the thing is, all of these characters, I was satisfied within their own universes.
Right.
I felt like did good jobs, had good villains.
Except
good
Doctor
stakes.
Strange.
Doctor Strange, I enjoyed Doctor Strange.
I was mad at Doctor Strange.
Why?
I don't remember what. I just remember like the things that happened in Doctor Strange like was so formulaic to a degree that it was just Iron Man 2 with magic. And like I understand that's what that character is to a point, but I feel like they did nothing different
The
with
movie
it.
was just okay. I thought the way that they handled like him going against Dormammu at the end
That was
pretty
cool.
creative.
Yeah,
you know?
the visuals in it were amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
I
It's
cannot
not
say
the best
that.
movie.
And it's clever in that regard, but I felt like to me it felt like he didn't grow at all and didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
From like he started off with a giant
I kind
asshole.
of got that too.
Yeah, like a giant asshole that's good at science, and then he's a giant asshole that's good at magic.
Yeah.
Like he just gets a different coat.
But what I like about Doctor Strange is that he has this communication error of being too big of an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that is an actual thing he has to overcome, is that
Mhm.
he's so much of an asshole, he can't get anything done.
Right.
Like, it stops him from getting his powers for a little bit, it stops him from learning anything for a little bit, and he has to overcome assholery every time, but he never gets better at it. He's still an asshole in Infinity War.
Mhm.
Right.
And him being an asshole and not explaining anything is, like, fucking half the reason everyone's upset. Because, like, if he really did see how it all ends, wouldn't that mean he could have warned Iron Man?
He could.
Sometimes the
Yeah, but he didn't like Iron Man.
No, kid,
Yeah.
you'll be right back. Don't
Yeah.
like he didn't ease the
Yeah.
death. I'm
Right.
just there's a lot of
That's
lot
true.
of things he could have done that he didn't do because he's a fucking asshole.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
that's part of
I
it
kind
for
of
sure.
I
Which
like
makes
that.
him a dynamic character at the end of the day, which
Well,
is
he's
you know.
kind of a dynamic character just because like his actual problem is that he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And like that used to be Iron Man's problem, but now Iron Man's problem is that he cares too much.
Yeah.
And he has basically like I can relate to Iron Man because I feel like he just has the wrong opinion every time someone asks him what his opinion is, and I can fucking relate. 'Cause I like the worst characters. I hate the best characters.
Mm.
Like, pretty much every opinion that I've ever had has been against what other people generally believe as, like,
Yeah.
to be true.
We had like a 30-minute discussion about why you hate the person that represents good and happiness, and you just capped it with, "I think Thanos is a tight guy." Like, I get it.
Thanos and Loki, they're chill. Captain America, go screw yourself.
Worst character.
He was better as the Human Torch.
Damn,
Damn,
that's
son.
fucked up. Those movies are underrated, though. I will say that they're
I
fun.
disagree strongly, but
They're fun, though.
go. I
You're
wish
very-
that I could enjoy them like
Okay,
you
that's
could.
fair.
Yeah.
You're a very polite disagreeer.
Well, thank you.
I've never been happier to be disagreed with.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I
I
mean,
feel like
is the best thing in the world.
I feel like I'm rude a lot of the times. I apologize.
No, not at all.
DJ's rude. It's just his fault.
Yeah, I'm a raging asshole.
No.
So do we have any more thoughts on Infinity War? This is probably the longest we've ever talked about.
I
any
liked
topic
it a
ever.
whole lot.
I liked
I'm
it a
gonna
whole
go
lot,
see
too.
it 3 more times and eat some cheesy popcorn.
It
Also,
was pretty, and they found so, like, I feel like Tumblr was just super, super happy.
yeah, they were.
Yeah, that was
There's so
overwhelming.
so many good, satisfying moments.
Mhm.
Like I want to know if they all went to dinner. I think those actors are all fucking adorable men with
Yeah.
beards.
And women.
Apparently,
Yeah,
like the
they
main like
add those-
Avengers
They
got
added
matching
those
tattoos.
later.
Oh, no.
That
Yeah.
was definitely a part
They
that
were
they thought of later.
not that late on though.
Wait, what part?
The lady, fucking Black Widow was in Iron Man 2. And like a year after that, Gamora was in fucking Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm not going to talk about feminism in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
All right. That'll be a
I'm not
whole
going to
other
talk about
podcast.
female representation.
Okay, it's
with
not as good as it
that.
could be. I will say that, but they're there.
But it was just like, oh, there's a white guy with a beard, and a white guy with a beard, and a white guy with a beard, and a white guy. Oh, that guy doesn't have a beard anymore. Nice, nicely done. Oh, and then we put Black Panther in there.
Mhm.
We're aces.
That's
Oh yeah. It's just
Marvel, we're working on it.
They're definitely working on it. They're doing a great job of working
Yeah.
on it. I take back if that sounded super rude that I was disappointed with the female representation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that's all.
Even the comics are getting better. When you have
Yeah.
an organization that's been going since like the 30s and 40s,
yeah.
you're gonna run into that stuff. But they're aware of it and they're
Yeah.
fixing it. They're
And they've done some
you know.
good things.
They took some real good turns with Black Panther. I'll tell you that after reading up about some of the shit from the comics about what the characters are named and their designs.
Oh really?
Hell yeah.
There's literally a black person that's an ape
Oh no.
in those books. I'm like, you know what? You guys did a good job. You guys did a good job.
Whoa.
Can I have one final thought on this?
Absolutely.
You have as many as you want.
Thank you.
You're part of this now.
You can have as many as you
I'm
want.
deep up in this shit. Cool.
Maybe not that.
And completely out again,
And we're
evicted.
gonna talk
Oh.
over you now.
Okay, well I feel
I'm not gone.
I feel like out of all the crossover and like kind of build up like things that we witnessed over the years, whether it's Harry Potter, for me, Alien versus Predator held this at one point because I was such a big fan of this franchise. I feel like this has been like the biggest like payoff as far as like movies building up to something and like a crossover event that
Totally.
like our generation is gonna see.
They did
Yeah.
it the best that anyone could have done it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with
Or
how
the
they
best
have,
the best that it's ever been done before. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
and also like DC, step your shit up.
Yeah,
'Cause-
we stop fucking up.
No,
please.
DC, give up and drown yourself.
DC, take your DC animated division and let them write your movies because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
actually know how to write your fucking
And
characters.
get rid of Zack Snyder.
Oh,
I'm
they are?
sorry, Zack boy.
It sucks what happened, but it's for the best. Patty Jenkins promoted.
Yep,
You're in it
promoted.
forever.
You're in charge.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're in charge of telling you that you're in charge.
Yep.
That's
Technically, human
our
has given
job.
you
Appointed by me.
But so yeah, Infinity War was dope.
Yeah,
Dug
Dope.
it.
I enjoyed
We
it.
all had
Everybody-
opinions on it.
Yeah, dope, but read your rule book.
Yeah.
Read your own rule book. That's all I
Sponsored
gotta
by
say.
Allen.
That's all I gotta say. You know,
So okay.
I have.
Do we
more
even
things
want to?
that-
Do you want to get into it?
I want to podcast until I'm dead.
Let's fucking do it.
We're
You
having
in
a
for
good
this,
time.
Tyler?
Let's do it. Let's go.
I think that considering we spent so much time talking about Infinity War, we can say that time doesn't matter.
That's
because
true.
it also
How long is it?
An hour and a half we're in right
Holy
now.
holy
We're
shnikes.
doing good.
Holy Zack
All right,
Snyder.
what are we going on to next? Give me the next
this
beat.
off.
Honestly, we've talked so long, I forgot my topic. Go, so you're good.
Oh shit.
Oh, I remembered it, but you can still go first.
No, go ahead. I got mine written down.
I saw a Kanye West interview that he put up recently. I'm gonna say right now, I like Kanye West. He's a very much a person that doesn't know how to articulate his thoughts most of the time. He has good thoughts most of the time. And it was just an interesting interview to listen to because he was talking with Charlamagne the God, and they were like, it didn't feel as much as an interview, but more of a conversation about like the things that have been going on with Kanye West in the last couple of years, and just how people have been perceiving him in general. And I don't know, it was interesting. That's all I gotta say.
What'd you learn?
I learned that Obama shaded Kanye real fucking hard. In the interview, he talks about how Obama like contacted Kanye West when he was like starting his campaign in like 2007 or 2008, and he called him on the phone and was like, "Hey Kanye, I love your music. You're my favorite rapper. You know, I'd love if you supported my campaign." And then he was like, "Yeah, cool. Me and Obama, that's fucking cool. He's from Chicago too. It's great." And then like a couple years later or something, like Obama goes on like a talk show and calls Kanye West a jackass because he was fucking up recently. And he was fucking up, but just hearing Kanye talk was like, man, that hurt my feelings. I thought I was friends with the president, and then he's calling me an asshole or a jackass on live television. Like, and he never talked to me afterwards.
Did he really say jackass?
Yeah, he calls me a jackass, yeah.
Wow.
And it was like, even if you don't agree with what Kanye's doing, you looking at the interview, you're like, oh man, this guy is like really hurt and doesn't know what he did.
You can
wrong.
see why he'd be hurt.
Yeah, because his biggest crime has been loud and obnoxious. Like Kanye's never been a malintent guy.
Yeah.
For the most part that I've seen, you know. And it was just I'm like halfway through it now, but it's been super interesting to watch and listen to, just because of someone that like I feel like is a prime example of media turning into like something completely fucking different than what they probably are. And just hearing them finally be able to talk about it in an unedited, like just full form.
Yeah, that was. I had a breaking point with this newsline because I knew going into it I wasn't going to. It wasn't pitched to people that wanted to hear it. It was pitched to people that didn't want to hear it. You know, all the headlines were like, Kanye's going crazy. This is all happening, and like, it's relieving to see that his message through it all was like, open your ears and fucking listen, because it's not a clear line that separates us as people, and the smartest of us can understand both sides of the argument, and I feel like that was the greatest takeaway from this.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
I didn't see the interview, so I don't know.
No, it was
what
cool.
that's about, but
It's if you ever have an hour and a half to like check out, and if you're listening to this, I know your ass does because you're listening to this podcast. But
1 hour and 36 minutes
we
in.
love you.
hey, thanks, yo, Rose Nesbitt, you found your way home, baby. Welcome back, Rose. But anyway, so yeah, no, that was it. It was just interesting to watch, and I enjoy Kanye as an artist, and he's someone that's been so influential to me and just like the music that I like, and influential to hip hop overall. Like without Kanye West, we wouldn't have Childish Gambino's or J. Cole's, and depending on who you ask, that might be a good thing. We wouldn't have like modern rap. We wouldn't have the collegiate rap that came in the mid 2000s and just like that style. So
Yeah, you can watch like little Vox like video essays on like what he's contributed to, like music and fashion and like design and things like that. And it's impressive.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and
it's all there. Yeah, all the
love
evidence
Kanye.
is there.
just want to see him not be good again, because it completely bowls into like the fucking thing, but like see him prosper again mentally,
I hope
because
you
it feels
have
like
a
he's
good
coming out of it.
retirement. I can say that wholeheartedly. I hope it's a real nice one and you're comfortable forever.
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly, I hope that.
Considering how many people buy those Yeezy boosts, like
doing
he's
real
gonna be
good.
comfortable for
Apparently
a
that's
long
like a
time.
$1 billion company right now.
Yeah,
It's
makes
insane.
sense. Yeah.
But
And even then, we were saying like even just seeing his influence, like all the shoe companies are like trying to rip off the Yeezy Boost like design right now, and so if you need any evidence of influence there, then there's at least that I know of, because I like been getting into shoes lately. Sneakers.
Sneaking in my sneakers.
Yeah.
But in totality, thanks, Jesus.
Coming to the realization that the voice actors are like never the same age as the characters that they're playing kind of messes you up.
Okay.
Okay. At least it messed me up.
Okay. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like just
I
in
don't know.
general?
What the fuck show was I watching?
Oh, I think I know what you're saying because I remember like seeing that like I don't know. There's like a really old guy that does a bunch of like cartoon character voice. Like the guy who plays the voice of Fry on Futurama is like really old.
Fuck, what's his name? I know, I can see his Adam West, something, Billy West.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. But yeah, he's a lot older, and it's like seeing that like him do the voice of like Fry live. It's just very
Yeah.
kind of jarring. Yeah.
It's weird. It's a little weird. And then also like sometimes it's really cool, but sometimes it's also
Yeah.
like a little jarring. Like I saw something the other day that had the voice actors from My Hero Academia,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, oh man, you sound like a 12-year-old, but like you're doing it on purpose, but you don't look like this at all. Like
Yeah.
it's just a little jarring a lot when you find out that also like children voices were not voiced by children.
Yeah.
That's
totally.
weird.
I think the only, not only place, but the only place that I know that does that is Cartoon Network now.
Yeah.
So I think they just phased out their new
That's true. Gumball.
Amazing Gumball
Yeah,
people
yeah.
because they aged out. And then I think the person that plays Finn has been playing.
Yeah,
it was his
he's
brother
okay.
originally, and then it was him after his brother left or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
But they like let their characters evolve with their ages, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like Nancy Cartwright has been voicing like the same character on The Simpsons for the last like what 30 or 40 years now.
Oh yeah, that is really weird to see. Like, I
Yeah.
saw a video about that a while back. Like the
Strange.
voice actors for The Simpsons doing their characters. It's
Dude,
really weird.
Do you ever
Yeah.
get really wigged out when someone who plays a very prominent voice actor character is then acting and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Like the actress who voices Leela in
Yeah.
Futurama, she
Mhm.
plays a cop on the show called Superior Donuts that my mom loves, and
Oh.
I watch it with her because it's entertaining. It's not my favorite because it's just one of those campy like
Right.
shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she plays a cop, and it's almost like it could be synonymous lines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it's her character is not uncop like
Yeah.
so every time I see that I'm just like it's so dry. I'm like, who's talking? Why is her mouth moving?
Yeah.
It's like seeing
for
someone,
sure.
It's like listening to a podcast and then looking at a picture of them online, where it's
Uh-huh.
just like, oh, that's not what I thought you were gonna look like at all. Like
Yeah,
not in like
yeah.
a mean way, but just like, whoa, huh?
I totally
I
different
was
image.
wrong.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
For
that
sure.
freaks me out more so with podcasts, but you send same deal.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the first thing that freaked me out because it was like,
Oh, I got one.
what?
When in Kingdom Hearts, when I found out that it was Joel Osment, what's his name? Billy Joel Osment?
Haley Joel Osment.
Haley Joel Osment
Yeah.
playing Sora,
Yeah.
who's the kid from The Sixth
that is
Sense.
weird.
And then also the person that plays his nobody is Jesse McCartney
Oh,
from just being Jesse McCartney
Yeah,
in the,
yeah.
like the 2000s. And then
Huh.
also he also voices Nightwing in Young Justice.
Uh-huh.
It was just like, oh, what
Yeah.
what is going on?
oh man, I feel you on that. On the like, what is?
And it was still like when you're like a little kid, it's like, oh, and you're like a boy, so you have to like hate pop music for whatever
Yeah.
reason. And it's like, oh god, Jesse McCartney,
Ooh.
this is ruined now. Blah.
I remember
it's just stupid.
being very surprised that like all the Rugrats characters are played by ladies.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
Oh.
yeah, that makes sense because you got to get that like high pitched like little kid voice, you know.
Apparently that's super common.
Yeah, or
Little kids
Ash
shows.
too. I remember
Yeah,
at
mhm.
C2E2 one year, when I lived in the Chicago area, I like saw the lady that does like Ash from Pokemon's voice like do it
Mhm.
live, and I was like, whoa,
Dude, yeah.
yeah.
It is so cool to watch voice actors like step into character live. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is some of the most enjoyable
it's
content
so
out there.
crazy.
Like,
where are they?
Because you can hear it, you hear it like you're so used to hearing it like from the show, and then like seeing it come out of a mouth like in
Oh.
person or close to you is like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's happening. Oh my god, magic is real.
Yeah, it's like some kind of very specific niche of like ASMR or something like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
yeah, like fucking. Did y'all ever watch Tara Strong on Vine?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's the voice actress who does like Raven, and she does Timmy Turner.
Mhm.
And,
Yep.
Pretty much any
Harley
female
Quinn,
character
I
that
think.
you've seen animated for the
it's-
most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so cool because she'll be like, like
Yeah.
she does amazing job of
She's
like really separating her characters.
Insane.
It's so cool to watch. But I remember like the first time I ever saw a voice actor, or like the first time I remember this phenomenon was the first time I saw Bon Jovi. Because I
Okay.
listened, my mom plays Bon Jovi a whole lot, and like she plays his old stuff.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, you kind of imagine like when I was a kid, I imagined like young dude and leather jacket.
Cool guy.
Uh-huh.
Cool guy. Kind
Yeah.
of, young Harrison Ford
Considering
looking.
Bon Jovi isn't cool. Sorry, Bon Jovi.
Sorry, Bon Jovi. The first time I saw you live, I was like, how? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I forget that you've been popular for a very long time, and like, I was like, that was hard because I was like, you don't look like you make those sounds.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Which is so weird.
I get wigged out when I see the older acts like Bon Jovi, but like I'm a huge Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons,
Oh yeah.
and watching them like perform, or at least in part perform now, and they
Uh-huh.
sound relatively the same. It's like, how the fuck are
How?
you that old
Yeah.
and still sound like damn angels?
Dude, right?
It's so weird. You would think that would age with them, and it does to an extent, but they can like just tap into it, which is so interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a little thing. That was a
Okay,
bean.
all right.
There's a bean. Now it's gone.
That was a smaller one.
Would you? This was something that was brought up on Harmontown. And
Okay.
it was, would you eat a dog turd to gain 50 years of life?
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't like that. I
DJ,
don't
you're
like
among
life.
friends.
I don't like
DJ.
life. Don't act like this is a thing that I would do
like
in
life.
confidence. I don't like. I like life, but that's not a fair trade-off for me.
I would.
I
If
just
we're
wanna
talking like
outlive my
1,000
enemies.
years, maybe.
What?
For 50?
For only one dog turd? You just gotta
Oh, what?
eat a dog turd.
No. Would you?
Well,
Yes.
You talk about dying all the time.
I want to outlive my enemies. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm living right now. That's
Oh.
what I'm here for.
You know what? Let me ask you this.
Okay.
If I eat this turd,
uh-huh.
does that guarantee me that I live 50 years, or I have the option to live 50 years?
I'm
Does it make me
telling you.
invincible?
Wait.
Can I not
Oh,
be
I see.
killed?
Oh,
I
you
see
can
what you're
still be
saying.
shot and
Oh,
die.
yeah, fuck that then. That's stupid. No. If I can be invincible, what's the point?
Here's the thing that depends on for me. Does it like stretch your aging out? Like, does it make you like age a little slower to adjust with that 50 years?
Or are
you know?
you gonna be like in crippling pain?
Yeah, like super old and
Yeah.
shriveled up
I
and
would
just
say-
living in misery.
Yeah.
It stops things. Like if you were gonna die of diabetes at 85,
Uh-huh.
then you would live till 135, and your diabetes would take that long to kick in.
Okay.
So like if anything was gonna kill you, it will delay the time,
uh-huh.
but things that don't kill you will happen, like
Okay.
arthritis.
I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'd say that.
I'd do it.
It's just but okay. This also goes into like, when could you guys drop the illusion of that being an actual thing? Because like if I showed up today and I had a dog turd in my pocket and I was like, guys, fucking trust me. I know my shit.
Uh-huh.
This dog turd will give you 50 extra years. Like, would you since you said yes,
Yeah.
would you do it?
Yeah.
You trust me that much?
Yeah. We're
Yes.
friends.
You would look at
We
a dog
disagree
turd.
on things, but yeah.
It's also smelly, dude. It smells bad.
You know what? What's the worst thing is like
You
I
could
ate
eat it-
something nasty.
I could laugh in your
okay?
face and be like, I just made you eat a dog turd.
I'll be like, you know what? It was you know what? That's fine.
Oh, dude, that is what I'm learning is you're just a nice person, and I'm
thank you.
never expecting that. So like,
See, I saw this. You
Yeah.
say that same thing. It's like, I know you're a fucking bully, so
Well,
I wouldn't trust a goddamn thing you
no,
say.
you shouldn't. What I'm saying is, what I should be saying is, don't do that if I ever say it. Don't. I'm the god of mischief.
I trust
the
you,
new God.
Allie, but also the pros of it working outweigh the cons of it not
Yeah,
working.
that's all I'm here to pose the question of. And I was wondering, since you're with us and you're
Yes.
on this train, let's push this. All right.
Yes.
Now, I have told you meet me in the woods at a nondescript location, and I have brought. What's an animal you care about the least, probably?
Ooh, the least.
Maybe not an animal. Let's do something else. Let's say that I've prepared some kind of ritual,
Mm-hmm.
and it will take us being in nature and exposed to the elements for 3 days.
Yeah.
And we can't really eat.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna have to limit bathroom usages.
Sure.
It's
I'm following you.
It's gonna take some intense. Let's say it's a ritual, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna take some intense chanting and like
Uh-huh.
maybe a little bit of our blood in the fire.
Sure. Some real Salem's Lot type shit.
Yeah. It's gonna be fucking insane, and it's gonna take 3 days long. But at the end of it, we will be able to harness elemental powers.
Whoa. Fuck
Not all
yeah.
the elements, but it will be a random choice of what element comes to you.
Fuck yeah. I'm
Would you
down.
do the whole 3? Like, at what point would you not do what I told you to do in those 3 days? What would be your stopping point?
It would have to involve something I like fear immensely, like some kind of very
Would you
large
kill?
spider or I don't think I'd kill for that.
Would you
I
kill like?
I wouldn't kill a person.
Would you kill like a mouse?
A mouse?
Would you stomp on a mouse with the equivalent of the Infinity Gauntlet except with a boot?
I mean, would I go
Just stomp
like
it into
that?
oblivion. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
See,
I like animals a lot.
Yeah, that's what That's what I'm going at.
Yeah.
Would you rip the spleen out?
Elemental
of an
powers,
alligator?
huh?
Elemental powers, though, because that's my thing. Is like, I have a pretty good grip on reality. I feel like I kind of understand what's real and what's not real. But I get really challenged when it's like an actual possibility for greatness because I don't want to pass it up. Like, I don't want to be the person that's like, you're silly. I'm never doing that. And then they end up with elemental powers and take over the universe.
Yeah.
So I think I'd go pretty far before I was like, you know what? Maybe this is all a lie. Like that is elemental powers. Like, I do a lot for elemental powers.
Well, I don't know what I would do much. If it was something like you could teleport or you can fly.
Yeah, you
then,
see, that's a big old difference.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's a
see?
big difference.
All right,
yeah.
Element-
yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elemental powers, maybe not. Like, what could I do with it much? I guess become a superhero, but I'd get
Watch
get
Avatar.
captured by the
Come
guy.
back to me.
I do love Avatar, but
You would have basically one of those. You would have the ability to control and wield and create that element.
well, that works for them because in their world, everyone has that. But in this world, I get captured by like the government or something. They'd be doing tests on me for the rest of my life.
Not if you're
I don't
doing
think our
time travel.
government's that smart,
Okay.
dude. Been
yeah.
watching the news.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, with elemental powers, there's a lot of shit you could get out of.
Yeah.
Like, I also feel like you have so much research now because so many people have thought about this.
Yeah.
That you could really find the best ways to use that.
True.
Like,
true.
if it was ice, you know how much shit is out there for people who use ice as a
yeah.
power?
I would love that.
Holy
I
fuck.
got a soft spot for ice characters. That'd be pretty rad.
Dude,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'd for sure as hell do it.
For a tiny mouse, maybe, but I don't know if the elemental powers is enough to sway me for that. Now, like I said, teleporting or Mr. Fantastic stretchy powers or flying or something. Like, yeah. Something that would make my life like infinitely more like convenient
what would
to go
be your
through.
limit? Okay, so let's pick one. Pick your
Okay.
favorite.
Teleporting.
All right,
Let's do
all right.
that.
To teleport,
Yeah.
you gotta get a face tattoo.
Do I get to pick the tattoo?
No.
I get to pick.
Well, what's the tattoo, DJ?
Yeah, DJ, what's the tattoo say?
It's
Can I
it's
get
dick,
the- can I
it's
get
dick
the-
butt?
Dick butt?
Yeah, but it's real big.
Yeah, I do it. Just wear makeup every
It's
day.
like right over. No, it's like right over your eye.
I
It's
wear
like
makeup every day.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
It goes
Your
through.
power goes away.
If I put makeup on it,
Yeah.
that's a silly power.
Well.
It's like
Okay.
summoning circles,
Okay. Yeah.
old pagan stuff.
I get
If
what you're saying.
if the inscription is, if the great divine inscription of dick butt is ever not completely complete, you can't use
The
your
dick butt
powers.
is the insignia. Huh?
Yeah.
It's
Uh-huh.
like
Your
your
Lord and
Superman
Savior.
son.
Dick butt.
Dick butt.
Dick butt also becomes your Lord and Savior.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
And the dick butt gets bigger when you get more strong.
I wouldn't do it if it was dick butt, because
Dude.
that's gonna affect me the rest of my life. I'm not gonna be able to get a job
And teleporting
necessarily.
won't.
Yeah. Well,
be a
Teleport into a
hero.
bank.
teleporting it would be good if I had like a normal life because it would make me be able to get to my job faster.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to get a job that I like that well if I have dick butt on my face.
Can work for Uber
You
Eats.
know? Huh?
Can work for Uber Eats.
Uber Eats? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
the one positive that I will have on Uber Eats is as a hiring company, there's like absolutely no discrimination.
Oh,
You work
yeah.
for Uber Eats.
There you go.
That's true.
Also, you could rob a bank. You have teleportation.
Oh yeah, but
You could rob a Nazi bank.
robbing a Nazi
How
bank.
was-
Now
how
you're
well is that business doing?
speaking my language.
Get
Get in on some of that.
Uh, I'm sorry, I'm not involved in the government. I don't really know.
You know what? Yeah.
I don't really watch my news lately.
'Cause then
so
I
know how
can-
the Nazis are doing.
But I know
If
it
there's
could
any
happen.
Nazis listening, please write in. We'd love to know.
No, don't write
Fuck
it.
Entire
off.
plan.
No.
We'd love to know your entire plan for the next 5 years, and we totally aren't going to ruin it.
I'm gonna
if you
delete
tell
them.
us.
Allie, you have convinced me though. I would take it because then I can just work from home, do whatever I want. I can travel to the
That's
top. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so fucking about fighting about shit like this.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
like, my thing is, I will go to extreme lengths to get
Yeah.
elemental powers. Because I do believe that once I am given elemental powers, I will be able to find my way out of most situations.
True. Yeah.
And, like, because there's been so many movies and so many TV shows where they have, like, bigger problems than the ones that I'll face, and they somehow get out of it. And
Yeah.
I'll just watch that all day, you know?
True. Yeah.
I just hope nobody else gets a power that's cooler than me. That's the only guarantee that I want.
can't handle that.
Nobody else can be able to do what I did.
Yeah.
It make me real mad.
Big man.
I'm right there
Do we
with.
need another bean?
Uh,
Time for another one?
shit. Honestly,
Or is it
yeah,
time
we
to
can.
end?
We can go either way right now.
We're
Might-
past that point of like too long.
Yeah.
So we might as well stick with
Yeah,
it.
I think I might just cut out the Infinity War part and just make that a
Its
podcast,
own
and
thing.
this will be a podcast.
Hell yeah.
So
No,
Look, we're making content over here.
Yeah,
Double
yeah,
power.
There you go. That's 2 for 1 right here.
2 for 1. That's a
Cut
deal.
this shit out
Okay.
too, so they don't get on to us.
I have a question for you two.
Yes.
Because I definitely feel like your answer is going to be way different than mine.
I'm
What is
listening.
your first thought when you see a totally unassuming person just walking on the street?
What was my first thought?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a deep question.
Like, what are they doing?
Who are?
That's your first thought?
No, what are they? Are they
Oh.
doing anything to like war? What are they doing? Why are they out here?
All right, it is a person.
Okay.
Nothing about them is necessarily alarming nor comforting, and they are walking along the street next to you, and you're in your car.
Mm-hmm.
What's your first thought?
I want them to walk faster so I don't have to be around them anymore.
Yeah. Okay. You.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one. Usually, like I feel like you
Here,
break.
You just talk for a second. I'm gonna repeat.
Okay.
I feel like you break it down to just like your lizard brain going like that is human, and then
Yeah.
go on.
That is familiar, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
I
to a
recognize
degree,
a target, analyzed target, confirmed to be human. Moving on. you
but
know?
it also might take my life. So do I want to destroy it, or is it friend?
Dude, I think this says a whole lot about you.
I am very paranoid. I will say that.
That is something like I think about a lot though. Just like walking. I think we talked about this somewhat recently. Like we could just walk by someone that's just like has someone like locked up in their basement
Yeah.
every day, right? You know.
Yeah. I think I saw a video like last year. It wasn't semi recently. It was like last year, but it was like of this lady in traffic. She's driving by this guy, and like she's not looking, but in the video, this guy has like a fucking like pistol like pointed at her fucking head,
Oh shit.
and it's like at any point could have been dead.
Damn.
And the only reason he stopped it because there was a video of it.
Wow.
It is just like shit like that where it's like, how many times did I almost get murdered?
Yeah, yeah.
And not know it.
Think
you
about
know?
that a lot too.
Or it's like, because there's one where it's like I almost fell for this scam
Uh-huh.
where it's like this person will come up to you and it's like, oh hey, I just need to get to this parking lot over here. Can you like give me a ride over there?
Yeah.
And if you say yes, they'll get in the car and like just like rob you and like might kill you.
Yeah, I've thought of that too. And then also on the other side of the spectrum, I have helped someone out, or this old guy like stopped me one time. He's like, I live in these apartment buildings like a couple blocks away. I've been walking all day because I don't have a car. I'm tired. Could you please help me out? And yeah, there's always that thing where like, I've
Yeah.
heard about this stuff. You get in, then they go around the corner and you pull a gun on me.
See, this is
or
what I'm-
whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
This is exactly where I hoped this bean had gone, because my first thought normally is one of two things.
Yeah.
The first one is why the fuck are you out here? America has terrible public transportation.
Right.
There's no way you're going somewhere productive. Are you just fucking off? Like, I really wonder what their motivation is for a second. But my immediate thought next to that is like, do they need a ride? And that's the worst thing.
If they're just walking next to your car?
Yeah.
Why?
Because public transportation is shit, and they're probably in like a terrible situation where they don't have an ability to like.
Do you mean sorry? Do you mean like downtown Austin, or like if you're like on the highway or some rural street?
More what I mean is like around Round Rock, not like 6th Street Austin,
Right.
But I'm talking like maybe even Rainy Street Austin. Like once you get more than 4 feet from like a bus station, I'm like, why the fuck are you outside? Like, what are you doing here? You're not walking, like, especially in Pflugerville where I actually live, because they're like I don't actually see bus stops regularly. I could not tell you confidently where one of them is.
True,
Like,
same.
I know where the metro is because it's a pretty alright mode of transportation that we have in Austin.
There's trains here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
they're
are?
kinda fun. There's like A total of 8 stops, but
And they're
Oh,
usually more
shit.
so in the city. Like they're
Yeah.
used for mostly getting around the
It's
city.
There is a train here?
it's a great way
couple
to get
trains.
to the convention center.
I thought we talked about this and you were like, oh, they don't got trains.
They don't have trains in the sense of an actual city having trains.
Okay.
They also
Where you
have
can use
one.
it for
Like-
like functioning thing.
Okay.
It's like small birds.
Like Chicago, like
Yeah,
has
like, it's
trains
nowhere
that go
near-
to everywhere. Okay.
Exactly.
I think its greatest intention was for you to park your car and then use it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Because it's a little frustrating, but it's a great way to get to the convention center, and it's
Cool.
a great idea for transportation if you're in Austin for an event and you want to get drunk. Because
Cool.
don't trust their fucking cab system. It's sketchy as hell, and they got rid of Uber.
Ooh.
Use Lyft or use the metro because you can just get on the train, and there's a lot of witnesses.
Yeah, true.
And like, yeah.
Just to be clear, I'm not from here. I'm from Illinois, and I've lived like in the Chicago area for a while. For the listeners, you know.
So
like,
he's a new boy.
I'm a
to
new
the
boy to
You're a
this
noob.
area. I'm a noob. I'm a freaking
You're
noob,
freaking
bro.
noob. So my first instinct is always either when I see a pedestrian, that's totally unassuming, is either like, oh my gosh, I should give them a ride. But then the next thought after that too is also like, I would never fucking take a ride from some stranger.
Oh yeah.
in a
Yeah,
car.
same.
The idea of hitchhiking
Never.
is absolutely insane to me.
Hell no, would I? And like, I also wouldn't get in a car with someone who looks like me.
I know I'm a degenerate. So I don't know what anyone
Yeah.
thinks.
Nobody
Oh,
should
wow.
trust me. So also, if they got in my car after I offered that,
Uh-huh.
my next conversation would be, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be getting in a car with me." And they'd be like, "You offered." Like, it's just I can't stop this series of thoughts from happening. But it's always like, "Oh, do you need help?" And then like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
fuck this person because I can't help you.
totally.
Like, also, I'm not in a position that I can like easily defend myself from most of the human race. You
Mhm.
know,
yeah.
that's just the way I'm gonna say it.
Uh-huh.
I don't drive around with weapons on me. I don't.
You don't keep that motherfucking thing on.
I'm not confident that I could point out a psychopath or a sociopath. I think they're sneaky as fuck. So like,
Yeah.
it's just not a plausible thing for any part of my evolutionary brain to go like, put that person in your car.
Yeah, yeah.
They're strange.
That's
Yeah.
like what's what we were talking about. Like you could walk. There's probably been several times in our lives where we've walked past someone or like sat next to someone in a restaurant that has like someone chained up in their basement or something
Oh,
like
fuck,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
Like statistically, and we would never know.
Yeah.
Never be able to spot them.
Oh yeah, it's so creepy. And like, you know, that's the other thing is like, especially when I see kids walking, because I'm like, holy shit, I want to give you a ride
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like I am the best person who wants to give you a ride.
Yeah,
right, now.
right.
Everyone else who wants to give you a ride is gonna fucking hurt you. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that, but it's so irrational too, because it's like, this is the Earth.
Yeah.
This is where humans can just be if they want to. You can
Mhm.
calm down.
Yeah.
We're allowed to just move from one place to the other.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people are chill.
It's so funny how like I, as a human being, don't understand why other human beings would just like traverse the Earth. That's
Yeah.
confusing to me.
Yeah.
It is generally like it gives me a reaction that's not normal, which is
Mhm.
so strange because
Yeah.
it's literally just someone walking around. They could have just been like, I wanted to have some fresher oxygen, so I went outside. Like,
Or I live very
and I'm
close
just
to
like,
where I'm
why?
walking.
Why the fuck are you doing that? Get a humidifier. And
Yeah.
I don't think that gets you more oxygen.
Get a humidifier.
Yeah, yeah.
Get an oxygen tank. You know,
Yeah.
they sell those, right?
Just take a little whip of that.
Go down the street, buy yourself an oxygen tank.
No, don't go
Shit,
down the
son.
street. Get an Uber. Get a Lyft.
Take a yeah. You're right.
Take a
Fucking
Lyft.
That's their point.
You fucking weirdo. But like
Ugh.
most of the time, my first thought is like, there is such a separation in class based on transportation,
Mhm.
like in human society,
Mhm.
that like when I see someone walking, I normally assume that they're kind of down on their luck. Is that really weird?
I see someone. That's not weird. I get where you could think that. 'Cause it's like 50-50 for me.
It depends on where they're walking. Like I said, like
Yeah.
walking downtown Austin or like downtown Chicago, like they could easily just live here and then not want to have a car, which is completely reasonable. But
Yeah.
if they're like walking around some like rural like suburb neighborhood or something like that, yeah, I assume that sometimes.
Or
yeah.
even
sure.
just like a small town.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why
exactly.
would you ever walk around in a small town?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
buying drugs. Like I'm from a small town, so I know you're buying
Like you're
drugs.
buying
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah.
I'm the person you're buying drugs from. come.
Yeah.
I know why you're out
Come
here.
to me if you need drugs. That's what I'm trying to say.
Look, I'm just trying to plug my drugs,
I'm
okay?
trying to plug my drugs, yo.
This is the newest faction of Technically Human. We're selling drugs. We're getting out here in these streets.
Call us at 888 drugs.
888 drugs. But yeah, no, I don't know. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
I'll
but
have
it's
to
also
think about it.
It's also weird to think that you have to put that in context because, like, when you're looking at it from a completely like alien perspective of like you're a human being and you're seeing another human being and it's only sometimes appropriate.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
only sometimes not really concerning that
That's
you're seeing
true.
another human being on this earth with you. It's funny
Yeah.
how that's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point.
just a little
yeah.
bean, a little something to think about.
topic
A
for
Little
sure.
bean.
digestible bean.
Oh, gross.
Do another bean?
How many beans you got?
I got quite a few beans.
I mean, let's do one more, and then Tyler, if you got a topic yourself, ponder about that, and we could
Okay.
close out the show with that.
All right.
This
I'll
one's
think
just a
about
fun
it.
one.
Okay.
I've got small ears and it's causing issues. I can't hold pens behind my ears. Y'all want to see?
The beginning of that sentence sounded like a fucking stroke.
Now this is a bean.
I've got small ears. I can't fit pens behind my ears.
It's like a real problem.
Okay.
I put and then they can't.
I feel like you didn't try. You didn't try at all. Allie literally just hold on.
It's
No,
kind of.
where's my fucking
and
phone?
then it's
I want.
gone.
I'm taking video of this. And this is gonna be a fucking part.
I wear glasses and I have small ears and it's like, oh god damn it!
All right, hold on,
I need
hold
more
on,
pens.
hold on, Allie, hold on. Okay.
I don't want to. Why did I do this?
All right. All right. You ready?
Sure.
This is Allie trying to put a pen behind her ear.
All right, so I can put a pen. It's really like it's. I want to put this pen behind my ear. I really do. And then.
Whoa!
Alright.
I'm just gonna cut the video there. You're like, oh shit!
It
It really
was.
like, but I can't put a pen on my ear and forget about it. Is the other
Right.
thing. So
Right.
If you gotta have,
I
it's a
can
conscious
balance
thought.
it like a book, but like I do have freakishly small ears and cannot hold pens with them.
I'm sorry to hear
I
that.
just want to let you guys know.
Well, the person I can move my ears.
I don't know how you
Yeah.
Go.
do it
All
right
right,
now.
hold on, everyone. 1, 2, 3. I'll move my ears. I'm
Ooh.
moving my ears,
A
everybody.
little bit, yeah.
Guys, see
Oh,
that?
yeah, I see that. You're moving your
All right, guys.
head.
The results are in. We're not technically human anymore. We're not humans.
That's a freak.
That-
And I think we have to like lynch
We
DJ
lied.
now.
We are
because
robots.
Because he's a mutant, not because of his race, because he's a mutant. Because of he's
He's
mutant.
a creature.
He's a
I don't know
creature.
Which is
about
a word
DJ.
that's been
That
coming
sounds
up a
pretty
lot.
racist of you.
No.
I think you're being very racist right now.
Ah, damn it.
Disappointing.
God, it was gonna be me
Disappointing.
that got
Why
caught
is
in the
DJ
race
always
scandal.
so racist.
We always talk about who's gonna get caught in like the racist rant first, and it turned out to be me.
Who would have saw that
Who'd
coming?
have thought? Not me. I'll tell you that. Wow, what a turn of events. Who'd have
I
thought?
love the idea of this blowing up and like everyone getting really pissed at you for being racist.
See, just
not
a flaming
ever looking
race-
at what you look like or anything.
I get a bunch of video essays. Have I had? I don't think other than the Instagram, there's no video of me on the channel at all. There's only one video on the channel right now, but for the things that are going up, there's not much. I can keep this alive that people don't know what I look like.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you don't look at the
Was-
Instagram.
Yeah.
Just don't ever look at the Instagram because it's really kind of only you.
Yeah.
Unless I do one of these.
All right, guys.
Now.
All right, Tyler, you got a final topic.
I guess we were talking about Westworld earlier and how you're
Yes.
starting
Hell
the
yeah.
series.
Yeah. Almost
All right,
totally
new
forgot about
podcast,
this.
Start the recording.
Yeah, true. That's very true.
Yeah, this is
Westworld.
this might be like 3 fucking
Do like
podcasts.
it.
I have no idea. I'm gonna upload the full one, but I'm gonna separate them all.
We
into
can keep
separate
this
videos.
brief, and since you've only watched the first episode, we
Okay.
can keep it brief and then just advance on it more, like as you watch more, like
Okay.
with the
I'm gonna have to
upcoming
look up the
episodes.
IMDb, though, 'cause I
For
forgot
sure.
every character's name.
I'm bad with names, and I've watched the whole series
I
twice.
literally just watched it. And I don't remember their names.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
I
all
remember a few, but that's about it. But
All right, yeah, let's get into
so
it. dude.
what are your thoughts on the first episode of Westworld?
What are my thoughts?
What?
What's going on?
What's up?
What is this? What a great interview question.
What do you think?
So, Westworld, generally.
I guess my
I think
thoughts.
it's fair.
My thoughts
yeah, it's not
are
bad.
I
Just
liked
guessing.
I know.
I liked the first episode. I felt around the 40-minute they could have cut out at the 40-minute mark from like
around 30 to like maybe 50.
What happened in that time?
It's when they do like the thing like the second time where they repeat everything the second time.
I feel that is kind of like a repetition is very much a important thing in the show,
Yeah,
and it comes
no.
up more later.
Yeah, I definitely get why they had it.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I just personally, for me, I was like, all right, I got it, cool.
Right,
Let's like
right.
move on, and they kind of like circled around the point for a little bit, but
Okay.
like even that, it wasn't bad. It was just like, all right, cool, I got it.
Sure.
I also
Um,
feel like that was kind of intentional to give you the feeling of like, you know, they obviously I guess it's not obvious because there are deeper meanings to this. We've talked about this, and I've talked about this in like a theory class before, with like a film theory class, and this shit gets deep if you like look into it too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the main trope is like sympathy for robots, right? And like the consciousness
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they have or don't have, the
Yeah.
arguing of that,
Mhm.
right? So I think I think the repetitiveness of it is supposed to annoy you.
Yeah,
And, it's
and
supposed to
I
be like,
definitely get
I've
it.
already went out of this loop, but like
Mm-hmm.
you have that first detachment of like, oh, they don't though because they're robots, but then once they go like, yeah, this is a little frustrating, that's terrifying. 'cause
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know your
Yeah.
brain would go insane if that was your life.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a very much like a Groundhog Day type scenario, just going through the same day over and over and over. And then also this is something they will advance on. But you see, if I'm remembering the first episode right, you see how things play out for Dolores and her
Mhm.
character and
Mhm.
Teddy, like
Right.
the how these things are played out and designed for these characters. Like each story, like they end up getting like shot and and things just end badly for them, and that's just how it seems like that's how their stories are meant to be, considering
Right.
like how they show that over and over again, since they're writing the plots for these robots and what they're supposed to do. And some of these robots, when you have narratives like being written like this, it has to be good guys, there have to be bad guys, there have to be characters that get the short end of the stick, and there have to be characters that succeed. Well, when you're the character that gets the short end of the stick in the story every time, that's got to feel real shitty when you're aware of it.
Yeah, once you
It's
figure
kind
that
of
out
like
too.
paralleling the God of Mischief.
Oh.
Always.
Not really.
That's why he's a good guy. He gets written in the bad parts. I won't do that. I'm sorry.
No.
I just totally derailed this, and it's
Really?
only because I love the God of Mischief.
Yeah.
Like,
You have a bit of a point. That's a bit more of like
Yeah, we're just fucking with
a
each other.
figuratively. This one,
Yeah.
they're
This is
literally,
literally.
very
Yeah.
literally written to get the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think this show also does so much. Such a perfect example of like totally flat nudity that means nothing.
it's
Yeah,
true.
I
yeah.
dug that part.
I
a lot.
fucking
I thought that
love
was
that.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because it's
so-
like it's like nudity overload where you like there's a point where you just see so many like naked bodies. It's like, oh, naked bodies don't mean anything.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. It does kind of desensitize you, but also it makes you think like it's just the human form.
yeah.
That's more what I'm getting at. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
It's just like, yeah, okay, cool. We don't have to like this isn't a weird.
It's
thing
not
anymore.
addressed in like a sexualized way or anything. It's
Yeah.
just that they're naked.
That's what I fucking love
Yeah.
about it. It's like a nudity scene that you could legitimately kind of like watch with like in a group setting, and it's not uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you are all looking at nudity, which I think is like been a like goal for humans almost.
Yeah.
Is like to be more okay with nudity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you look
agree.
at paintings, like
Yeah.
there was a side that wanted less and there's a side that wanted more, and that's always been the struggle. And I feel like these guys gave us the first like. Not the first, maybe there's been others before.
But a big
The
stride.
first time in my lifetime
Mhm.
as a 21-year-old piece of shit who doesn't watch anything, this is the
Mhm.
first time I've ever noticed a show that like refused to play that card, even though it was right there.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, they even go in with like I think mauve or
I think Maeve. Yeah.
I always read it mauve. Mauve is my favorite color, but Maeve, like her whole like story is about being told what to do, being put in a place, being controlled, and like they don't ever show her she doesn't sorry
That's good.
once she's whenever she's not in control, it's a literal programming thing.
Yeah.
It's not like you've beaten her,
Mhm.
it's like there's a mathematical thing that is making her do this.
Right.
Yeah. It's more in her design than in her character
Yeah.
to be complacent.
Mhm.
And then once she becomes uncomplacent, it's never nobody ever tries to like beat her down. You know,
Right.
there's not. They talk about this. This is kind of a thing in.
We don't want to jump ahead too much because DJ's still on the first
Oh, yeah,
episode.
right.
First
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Right. We don't want to get too far into it.
Right.
But there's such thing as victimization of the female character.
Mhm.
If you guys have ever like studied that in movies, it's a
Yeah.
little hard to explain because it can be something that happens to very powerful characters, and it can be like Scarlett Johansson. I always want to say Scarlet Witch, but
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah, I
Scarlett
know.
Johansson playing Black Widow.
Yeah.
Her character is a strong character that has dealt with a lot of emotional shit, and she's dealt with war, and she's dealt with her friends dying, and then a big emotional plot that they had for her was because she could not give birth, she felt like less of a woman,
Mm.
and that was very, in my opinion, very inaccurate portrayal of a woman that's strong.
Yeah. Ooh, I got something.
There's
about
a
that.
really good essay on that with but about aliens though, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
all the symbolism with Ripley and that. I might have to
just-
send you a link. But
I just feel like
yeah,
that
I see what you're
moment
saying.
in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was such a throwaway, and it was such a. They just wanted to make her a weaker character for a moment, so it could be like it's literally taking that character and deciding what her fate is
Yeah.
and how she feels about things, but that's not staying true. You know, so like
There's something like that in wrestling right now that's pissing me off too.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really annoying because it's obviously just fucking written that way,
Mhm.
and so what I like about this is Maeve doesn't have that. You
Mhm.
know, there's no one. You know, I guess it's not like she's just gonna fucking figure things out because she's in control. You know, and she takes control and she does it well, and it's not this like. I'm overcoming my abusers and getting past this big emotion. Like, she's just a fucking badass because
Yeah.
she is, and she wants freedom. Like,
Yeah.
there's no complication. And she does have that motherly aspect. You know,
Yeah.
there are really good pluses and complexities to her character, but I don't feel like they paint her as a victim, which is really fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We are jumping ahead quite a bit, but I 100% agree with you, and I can't wait for you to get the context of this DJ. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Maeve, but yeah, you're so right. Maeve becomes such a badass character, and I'm excited for you to see that journey she goes through, as well as Dolores. Dolores has
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of really good moments like that too. Yeah.
If you said any spoilers, this is nothing personal. I tuned myself out so I wouldn't hear any possible spoilers while you guys are talking
Oh,
about
shit.
this.
Sure.
But I'm very excited to hear whatever's gonna happen.
Yeah. it's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, the developments in these shows. I've only seen the first season, by the way.
Me too. Yeah, I haven't started the second season yet.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of the developments. Man, I want to talk about so much that would just fucking.
I know.
I could just like go in another room. You guys do a little
No.
podcast. We're having like
No,
3
can
fucking
we-
podcasts right
Can't
now.
wait for like 4 minutes because I really want to talk about something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, DJ.
No, let me mark this right now.
This
We're gonna
is-
have a little.
This is the secret podcast away from DJ.
Bye, everybody.
All right, the parents are gone.
Wait.
Breaking out the Mountain Dew. Turn on
Yeah,
that black light.
dude. Playing some Halo 3, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude.
So did. Wait. Is he gone?
We're good.
All right. So, did you see Bernard's backstory coming?
The whole twist with that?
Yeah.
Not at all.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, as soon as I saw this show, I was like, Bernard's not good. Like people have been bragging about how they saw that coming, and I was
no way you could.
legitimately
Yeah.
surprised.
I was, because I watched it the second time and I was looking for like tells for it, and there isn't.
I think people are fucking liars,
Yeah,
and they
I
saw
agree.
that episode and they're like, I saw that.
Nah,
like,
they're-
you can't. Dude, guys, don't trust your brains as much as you do. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I saw that coming." It's like,
Yeah.
but you never said it out loud or gave us any inclination that that's what you were thinking. So, like, you're just telling yourself.
There is like one thing I noticed, and how they bring up, well, spoilers. Bernard is actually a robot recreation of, I can't remember the name, but the Anthony Hopkins character's old partner that helped create Westworld, whose name is Arthur. So Bernard is a robot recreation of Arthur, and one way you can kind of like maybe think about it is at the beginning, the very first episode, Anthony Hopkins shows Bernard a picture of him and one other guy, and you're supposed to assume that that's Arthur, but they never show like an image of Arthur with
Yeah,
Anthony Hopkins
that's a
referring to
big
him.
thing.
That's Arthur right there for the whole series, you know. So that's something I kind of picked on, but they throughout the whole series they do like kind of a whole red herring like thing where they lull you into a false sense of security of making him feel like a human by you know, him having experiences like that thing of him having dreams about like his son dying, and like they have the scene where like he talks to like, well, we think he talks to his wife over a video
He's
communicator.
problematic. He has flaws
Yeah, and
and human characteristics.
exactly, and then that just really cement and it works so
the child,
well.
Yeah, the dead child and the wife was probably the first time that everyone was like there just hasn't been a good explanation.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a good explanation for not trusting that at any point.
I agree.
So that was
yeah.
a really good choice.
It makes you a false sense of security there, but it works so well because, you know, it makes it really cements like how real this feels to the robots, you know, because the whole series you're seeing Bernard like experience these things, and he feels these things for these events that have happened to him, and you feel that with him because you think he's a human character, but then like it doesn't throw it out the window once it reveals that he's actually a robot, and it just makes you feel more sympathy for all the other robots. So they're like, they're really feeling this shit. This is real to them. You know? Yeah.
It's so exciting as a show.
Yeah.
Because like that whole aspect of it is totally happening, and Bernard is like, he is literally the bridge for us understanding what are the bots called again? I fucking forgot.
Hosts.
Yeah. He is literally the bridge for the audience understanding of the hosts.
Mm-hmm.
He does the exposition. He like, the hosts were created with
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? So he's the reason that we understand them. And normally when it's interesting that they spend so much time talking about writing in this show when the writing in this show is so complex. Like, it's a really bold fucking stance to write a shitty writer in your script.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, but they worked hard to earn the right to do that, and they totally have it.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting how, like, when Harry Potter starts out, Harry Potter is a know-nothing kid who doesn't know nothing about the magic world.
Right.
We can be in the place of
he's a conduit
Harry
for
Potter.
us. Yeah,
Definitely conduit. Same with Legend of Zelda. Link doesn't have a voice, and sometimes he doesn't have his own. He doesn't have his own name because he's a conduit for our traveling throughout this universe. You know, and we need to understand that character right off the bat.
Yeah.
We don't need to ask questions. We don't need to be like, but what was it like growing up with this? Because in all reality, that character should be relatable to us. We should be able to immediately walk in and know what they're thinking.
Exactly.
So they gave us Bernard.
Yeah.
And then flipping that and saying like, yeah, that was a robot the whole time. You were already
feeling
with
things.
that.
Yeah.
You were already relating to that.
Exactly.
So you can't. So I think people really cheat
There's
the
no
moment.
defense for like not like trying to find reasons for the robots to like not be right in what they're in wanting to have like their freedom and stuff like that.
Because
Yeah.
in the beginning we were following.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And we felt for the robots. So like, have you ever seen Battlestar Galactica?
I don't think so. No.
So
yeah,
I
not the
watched-
show.
I watched the revamp of Battlestar Galactica when I was like 13. Don't fucking hate me for not watching the originals. Fuck you guys. So, in Battlestar Galactica, the big thing is that there's Cylons, and they look like humans, but they are robots.
Yeah.
And then their plan of attack, I'm going to spoil the whole fucking show for you.
That's okay.
Their plan of attack was they made prototypes that looked like certain humans, and then they dropped one of those prototypes within human society, waited a bit, so they got ingrained in their culture. I think it was like 5 or 7 of them, and then attacked.
Oh, like
So when
sleeper
they-
agents kind of.
Yeah. So they attacked. Everyone got blown up into space, basically. They destroyed the Earth, so everyone was living in these spaceships, one of which was the Battlestar Galactica, name of the show.
Huh.
So after many seasons of learning with characters, growing with characters, loving characters, you find out that 4 or 5 of them are on the other side.
Yeah.
It's like finding out that they were Sith Lords the whole time.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
It's intense. And there's this one character specifically who got married she was a mechanic, and she got married to another mechanic, and they were the fucking cutest, and I loved them so much. And they find basically someone else shows up looking exactly like her, and it's like you have this moment of what would you do if Tyler walked in and was like, yes, I'm a robot, and I planted that prototype of myself so that you could learn to trust him, but he's a dirty robot just like me, and they'll all fucking kill you. Like, they do use it as a threat. They're like, we did plant like 4 or 5 sleeper agents within your society, and you know and love them, and you treat them like humans, and you respect them, so fucking respect. Like, that's the other thing. All the Cylons want is respect. They want to be treated like humans and get human rights. The humans don't want to get that because the robots have always been their servants.
Okay.
So
this
really,
sounds very similar to like what
Westworld's
getting
except
at.
the Cylons are organized.
Yeah.
So the Cylons know this is how they're going to do it. They're going to implant those people. People are going to learn to love them, trust them, and marry them even.
Yeah.
And then they're going to say, like, dude, the whole time those were robots. Chill the fuck out.
And this is like a flip on that kind of, because the humans are supposed to think, oh, they're just robots. Like, we're not supposed to care about
no big
them
deal.
and stuff like that. Yeah, but they're really painted like the good guys in this scenario, where they're just wanting their rights and stuff, which it sounds pretty similar.
So what happens in this episode is one of the darkest things I've ever fucking seen. Basically, the girl who is known and loved on this ship, everyone knows her name and loves her. They've been living in this tiny spaceship for way too long now. They're also ingrained with each other, and they lock her in a jail. Like, as soon as the Cylons are like, this is a Cylon, they lock her in a jail.
Yeah.
They torture the shit out of her.
Oh, shit.
And they're trying to get information from her.
Yeah.
And her friends and, like, the colonels and everything, like, people she has known and shared bread with, like, broken bread with and all this different stuff, are coming up to her and they're like, what's your fucking plan of attack? Why the fuck do you want to kill all your friends and family? Why are you doing this? Why did you infiltrate us? Why are you a liar? Why are, like, they're just totally...
They just humanize her, like, immediately once they find out about that. Yeah.
You can more easily relate with someone on the defense than someone on the offense of that.
Right.
You know, the offense kind of went crazy.
Yeah.
And you could more relate to someone just being like, yeah, I'm a Cylon, but, like... I remember being born, and I remember falling in love, and I remember the taste of, like, bubble gum and shit like that. That, like, makes me in what I would call human, you know? And I don't fucking understand, like, I don't understand why this makes me different. So, like, it was a really cool way to show that. Dude, but the worst thing happens when her husband comes to see her.
Oh, no.
And she's like, you can believe me, they're keeping me in here, they're not feeding me, they're not doing, like, because they weren't feeding her because they're, like, a fucking robot.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You don't need to eat.
And he basically drops the ball of like,
oh, no.
You never fucking loved me.
Oh no,
you
yeah.
dirty fucking Cylon.
Yeah.
It breaks her fucking soul to see that happen.
Yeah.
Her fucking fiance is like immediately sees her as less than human because of this situation.
Yeah.
And like they looked more like monsters for turning on their friends because they were robots than the robots looked for killing 80% of the human race to make a point. I love shows that'll do that.
That's something this show does a lot, and that storyline with the husband and was he her fiance or they were married?
I think it was fiancés.
Okay, fiance. Well, they do something really similar with that with Dolores and William, the Black Rider guy, and that too, where you can see where they're coming from though, because the idea is that and this is something we were debating about the other night, is like, if they're a robot and they're programmed to do things, does it take it like away, or who's to say that they weren't just programmed to like
attack?
Not to attack, but just like to make you care about them or to love them as part of like their agenda or something like that. You know,
it's kind of almost like meeting also our fear. Like, I have an ingrained fear of psychopaths. I'm terrified of them. If you told me that you were a psychopath,
should be.
Well, it's also a mental affliction.
Well,
if you really want to observe it from a totally scientific point, it is mental affliction, and it does make living harder. People, they have to learn how to mirror human emotions, and they're seen as these serial killers, and these, like, it must be terrible for anybody who's living a normal life with the definition of psychopath.
I guess when you said that, I immediately thought of like serial killers and stuff like that. So that's definitely there.
Emotion, whatever.
That stigma's there.
It must be awful to have those wires not connect.
Right.
To not understand.
To have to live in that head and with that view of the world. Yeah.
To just never be able to understand.
Exactly.
Like, why you basically don't understand, like, motivation.
Yeah.
Why anybody does anything.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that emotion. You don't think anyone else has emotional impact to things. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, with Westworld, it's like Battlestar Galactica in that fact, but it's as if the Cylons weren't organized.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you this whole new sense of mayhem because, like, there's not a necessary. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Mary.
Mary just came home.
We were
kicked
talk-
DJ off the podcast.
We're talking about Westworld.
Oh, you're.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Okay, but we are spoilery.
Well, we watched the whole first season
that's-
together.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we
why
have,
we
yeah.
kicked DJ out.
We.
Okay. I watched the whole first season.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, grab the mic, girl.
Yeah.
We have just been joined by the first star of Technically Human.
Please welcome Mary. Hey.
I'm so obsessed with Westworld.
I know,
No
right?
idea.
Oh,
It's all I want to talk about.
I gotta say, I'm so glad you liked it.
Have you ever seen
Like,
Battlestar
yeah.
Galactica?
No, but I meant to.
Okay, because I just talked about this parallel thing. But
Oh,
dude,
okay.
totally. I'm so here for this. Let's do this.
Oh my god. This
All
is the
right.
best.
So
Okay.
So in Battlestar Galactica, just to sum up what I basically said, they did a really, really, really good job of showing that the Cylons, who are basically the hosts, you know, their intention was to make you care about a Cylon without knowing that it's a Cylon, and then hopefully in revealing that, they'd all be like, oh, you're just like us. Did not go that way. Everyone fucking hated that person. It was a really awful scene, made me very sad. So it was interesting to me to see Battlestar Galactica and then move on to Westworld, because Westworld has less organization in their
It's the beginning stages. It feels like what you're saying is like Battlestar Galactica. You're already seeing like the uprising of these like mechanical beings that are trying to just get their like rights because they
Yeah.
feel themselves as human. But in Westworld, you're seeing the
they're figuring
beginning
out that they're
stages.
humans.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking crazy.
exactly.
So it's crazy also that they don't have organization. To me, that's the wildest part about all of this.
Yeah.
Is that they're kind of the omnipotent, understands all of the things, super being robot people.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're the least organized people in the whole system.
It's because they're not in control of anything. They're
Yeah.
still like being controlled by this system, and they're just becoming aware of like the system. Because like we were talking about before, and this is something that brings up about just like consciousness and like life in general. Like to them, they have no clue that they're in any kind of system. They have no clue they're in this theme park. To them, they're just like living their lives. It'd be the same as like if one of us one day like found out that we were like in a computer simulation or in this very Westworld type thing where we're actually a robot. Like the rest of our lives feels very real and to us, you know. And there's to them they're just now becoming aware of this system, I guess. It's a very kind of all over the place way of saying it, but yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You see what I'm? Did I make sense there?
I made sense
with
to
you.
me.
Okay,
I get what
cool.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super interesting to think about. So, sorry, I'm losing track very quickly.
Sure.
You got this.
You got it. Yeah.
I guess what I find the most like difficult about Westworld is there's not an easy answer. There's not a goal to get to. It's kind of at some point it's like this whole maze thing that they're throwing in there of
Yeah.
like solve the maze, the center of the maze. That's been a really useful element.
Yeah.
Because it's giving us a sense of a destination.
It gives you a physical manifestation of the journey, the consciousness. Yeah.
What we're going to, why we're going to it, the promised land.
Exactly.
But we have no fucking clue what we want
Yeah.
as an audience. Because we also talked about this. They did a great job of inserting Bernard as the.
Fuck yeah.
What'd you call it? You said the
Like the
perfect robot.
conduit.
Yeah, he's the conduit. It's like, you know, in Legend of Zelda, how he doesn't have a voice because you're supposed to, like, as the gamer, imagine yourself as that character.
Right.
So Bernard, they do this conduit thing in a lot of movies. Harry Potter, especially, I think is the best example. They put a non-magic person there so that they could explain all the magic to that person while explaining it to you.
Right.
So they do this also in Westworld with Bernard. So they put Bernard there. Bernard explains how the hosts work. Bernard explains how the whole park work. Bernard explains how all the people come through and like what it all means, right? How you work on he even shows you how to work on the hosts.
Yeah.
He shows you how that happens.
He knows how they work and
Yeah.
stuff.
So he's our conduit for learning. We put ourselves in the place of Bernard, and then we find out, almost in a way, we were we were hosts because he was a host. You know, we couldn't tell the difference.
Bernard is like the view from the outside world, like the real world, like the conduit for us to experience. But then I feel like Dolores and later on in the season, Maeve are supposed to be the conduits for inside the world that we're supposed to like experience, you know, because like I said, we could very easily be in the same position as them right now, where we just go through our whole lives like blissfully unaware that we're, you know, everything that we do is predetermined by these controlling people, and we're just part of like this game.
Oh man, someone once made a joke that was something along the lines of like, we're just ants in a farm that God kind of shakes sometimes.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, yeah, that's kind of like, that's a way to look at like people. Sorry,
It's okay.
to religion, but people thought of religion as a like
Purpose.
predestination,
Right.
and it was someone else had this figured out, and it was almost like we were kind of in a simulation, you know, where it could be argued that that's what we wanted to hear. We wanted to believe we were being controlled by something.
I think a lot of this is going to offend a lot of people.
Sorry.
No, I'm about to offend a lot of people, but I think a lot of that stuff is kind of our coping mechanisms with the answers that we don't have. And so a lot of the time, like even on my campus, and I grew up really religious and not really that much anymore, but even on my campus, there's a lot of people that will just speak in the forum. A lot of them are religious, but then a couple weeks ago there were some atheists standing outside with signs, and they were just chilling, and some religious people were like, what do you do when people die? How do you feel? Like, I get to feel like that person is with God and I feel great, but what do you do? And they were like, yeah, that's great, that's cool. Like, and in my head I was like, man, they're being so nice to this person, but they're like, that's just a coping mechanism, dude. They didn't say that, but, and I don't know that for sure, but I think,
you know, they could also fairly say, oh, I use a different coping mechanism,
Exactly.
and that would piss them off.
right, yeah.
That's the thing. It's not a fair trade there.
No, exactly.
You know? And people don't think of religion as a coping mechanism.
No, and yeah, so all the people out there, I don't want to offend anybody by that, but yeah, I kind of think that a lot of the characters and the hosts specifically in Westworld, you kind of see them dealing with that, and that's why it's such a prevalent show, because you see them, it makes you question a lot of yourself. And one of the things that I think was most haunting for me watching Westworld, and Tyler and I think I've already talked about this, but we use the scale of human consciousness to judge how everything else gets to be treated.
Yeah.
And so these hosts that act out fear and pain, both physical and mental and emotional, have all of these ways of expressing that and showing that to the real humans, but the humans are told that they're clones, that they don't, it doesn't matter what they feel.
They're written to do that anyway.
Yeah, but how is that different than when we emote things?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a really kind of scary concept of, we judge, you know, how other things express pain by what we can inflict on them.
Exactly.
And our morals of whether or not that's okay.
We use our own consciousness as a parameter for how we treat things. Yeah.
That's the whole conduit thing. You know?
That's so scary.
This is
because we're like, that's the whole reason why conduits work. I'm now dropping all of the pins that I was trying to put behind my ear earlier, guys. If you wanted to know why I'm sounding flustered, it's because there's a lot of pens. I gotta pick them up. Anyway, yeah, that's how the whole conduit thing, like, it's the horror of like realizing like where we draw our lines on how we treat people versus things is like, it's always been fucked. It's always been fucked up.
Yeah.
We think like
it's totally arbitrary.
and it parallels literally to how humans treat other humans, and how how humans used to treat humans of other races. Like, if you look at that, that's literally like, it's a cheap throw because it's an easy parallel to throw, but it's literally like they're talking about slavery outside of race, but instead with this, you're robots and we're human people.
Yeah.
And like, it's a huge social question to ask, like, at what point do you have sympathy for a thing?
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, 'cause it leads to that, and then
And
based on
how
that,
fucking crazy some people look for not having sympathy for things.
yeah, that's true. Because like the Billy's brother is just going around the whole episode. It's like, oh fuck it, I'll shoot that guy because
Oh,
he's a
fuck
robot.
this.
Fuck
Yeah.
it, and it's just like, wow, it really shows
At
how
some,
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
How do people? Because like I wonder how. It keeps me up at night how anyone could hurt an animal. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awful, especially domesticated animals that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that we have trained their brains to trust us, and we have trained their brains to be docile and not hurt us, and you're taking advantage of that and hurting them anyway.
Yeah.
It's like that hurts me to see that you would ever do that to someone. But like honestly, if I saw someone, like I might have a little bit of a problem if someone took like if I had a Tamagotchi still, right? And maybe I spent 2 weeks feeding it.
Yeah.
If someone took a hammer to that, I'd be a little upset.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy to me. It's not insane that these people treat these human-looking things like things.
They see,
It's horror.
They said it really is kind of horrific, and there's a lot of scenes that portray that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This-
The body parts in the shower.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
water. Yeah, they look like
They,
slaughterhouses.
yeah, a lot of parallels there.
Mhm.
This is a lot to dive into, and I'm sure we can build on this more
Oh,
in
yeah.
future
We
episodes.
also need to
And I would
watch the next
love
season.
to. Yeah, we're trying to
I
get
am
DJ
so
caught up
down.
so we can
He
all watch it
is
together.
slow. He must be left behind.
Yeah, sorry,
Love you,
Deej.
babe.
But we've also been recording for like a little over
This is
3
gonna
hours.
be at
This
least 2 different podcasts.
this was supposed to be the end segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DJ.
Hey, DJ.
Hey,
Hey.
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 Hey, DJ.
I'm gonna text him. He can't hear.
Oh yeah,
Hey, how was work?
that's good.
You know, it was pretty good.
cool.
Yeah, it was a nice day out.
Get some tours of people.
Yeah.
Somewhere around the place.
I give tours, but I'm not gonna tell you where or when, cause I don't need.
We can cut that
I don't
out
need y'all
if
to
you
know.
want to.
Today's been a very personal episode.
It's true.
We have talked.
We got
about
into some
quite-
shit.
I talked about my opinion on Captain America, and I normally hide that thing like a. It's like I'm not very proud of my opinion of Captain America, to be honest.
Should
But I
be.
can't change it. Like I've really tried to think about positives of Captain America before. It doesn't always work out.
Shouldn't be necessarily unproud of your opinion. It's just a difference of opinion, you know. You
Yeah.
got your way of seeing it. We got ours. So yeah.
Yeah, but mine makes me a sadder person and hurts other people's opinion. You know,
Oh.
like if you have
That
if
shouldn't
you have
matter.
an opinion that hurts other people's feelings, it's probably not a very like
Sounds like you're talking to a bunch of stupid idiots, though.
what?
What?
I'm talking to you guys. You
No, I
just
mean, like,
insulted
if-
yourself, you racist fuck.
At no point, God, I forgot I was racist. It's been so long, I'm different now. No, I
on
feel,
that quickly.
we,
You
we,
think we forgot, DJ?
we talked about it. I feel like when we were talking about it, it didn't feel at any point that you were like being mean. It's like
Oh, okay.
you can talk about things that you disagree about, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fine.
Yeah.
You guys are just nicer than the people that I grew up with. My friends from home,
Mhm.
that group, I'm almost curious if they're okay with me saying what we called our group on a podcast.
This
on-
unnamed collective of people.
Yeah, I'll ask them and get back to you guys on if I'm allowed to say what we called ourselves because it's fucked up.
Okay.
But, yeah, they all were, like, they were down to beat me.
Oh my god.
Like, beat me in this argument about
Oh,
Captain
okay.
I thought you
America.
meant physically.
yeah, right.
They all agreed that they
It
were
was
down to
4
fight you.
on 1 versus like talking about the logistics of Captain America, and I felt insane because I was like, well, I have physics on my side, science on my side, the rules that were permitted in this movie on my side, and like just general knowledge of how the world works on my side, and you
Mhm.
guys have it's a comic book movie, Allie. Like that's what you have.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so
Can't say nothing because I'm on that side. We may disagree, but I see where you're coming from,
oh,
Allie.
cool. I
So,
totally see where you guys are coming from.
I'm
too.
also a
I don't see where
shrill
anyone's
Marvel
coming from.
fanboy.
I just came into the room.
I just
pissed
got
off.
here.
I'm just here to talk about Westworld, honestly.
which we can dive into more in further episodes.
Oh yeah.
I swear to
100%.
I'm telling you right now, you motherfuckers better not said anything that I need to cut out because I'm not listening.
Oh yeah, you're editing.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I'm just gonna start like, all right, this is the beginning and this is the
Okay,
end.
yeah.
That's
We
why
should
you
be good.
need-
We should be
That's
good.
why you need to watch it.
Do
Well,
not
I'm getting
listen.
on it.
Do not listen to those parts, future DJ.
Oh.
Whatever you do.
Don't scream my ears.
Man, we really missed an opportunity to talk shit about DJ.
You really
Fuck,
did.
we
We
did.
we did a little bit.
What?
That's an opportunity we won't
I'd
miss.
say
in the
all that to
future.
your face.
Okay, fair. Okay.
I didn't
That's
take any
true.
opportunity to say anything I wouldn't say to your face. though.
That's true. I just
That's
like
what
hearing.
said about him.
I like hearing too. It's always interesting to hear what people talk shit about me about. It's like, oh wow, that's
It's
That's a
only
different perspective,
that you're
okay.
a raging
Yeah.
racist.
yeah.
That's the worst.
And
I'm gonna say this to your face, babe. There's nothing that I wouldn't say to your face. I don't care how mean it is.
and that's why it works. That's where we're all
That's
good.
good though.
Man, talk about a fucking an infinity war of a podcast though.
It's been a lot.
This is
This podcast is
Infinicast.
longer
Where-
than Infinity Wars.
it actually is though. We just beat Infinity War
Yeah,
by like
it's
20
true.
minutes.
Oh
It's
my
true.
god. No, we are not calling this beating Infinity War. I am not saying that. My definition is not that time makes us greater.
That's true. That's true.
That's fair.
It's a lot. That's a
It's
lot
the
to say,
budget.
DJ.
The budget makes you better.
Can we all go home now?
Yes.
Alright.
I have to pee again.
We're on. That's the second pee break.
Yeah.
We've had this podcast going so long. There's
Yeah.
been 2 pee breaks. Thanks for listening to the Technically Human podcast.
Yeah, guys, if you have any beans that you want us to talk about, write them in the comments or send them to technicallyhumanmedia@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or
bring
tweet
them in.
at us.
Or if you want to send us
Find us.
numbers.
Numbers?
Yeah, that was a bit that we did very.
Send us a number like 4,
Or
62,
I
3,
I'm a big fan of 10
8,
You
and
know what?
13.
If
11.
you're listening to this still, 1, thank you.
Yeah.
2, I fucking dare you.
There it is.
Write anything in the comments you think we won't talk about. We'll fucking talk
Give us your
about
favorite
Okay.
number too.
it. Give us
Yeah.
a challenge.
Yeah.
I don't like that, Jared.
Nationalism and its effect on the American society.
Challenge us, guys. We'll fucking do it.
Oh man.
I will.
Anyway.
If I'm alone, I'll still do it. Anyway.
See you guys next
Bye.
time on the Technically Human podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Holy shit, is yours still going? I've been meaning to check
Oh,
yours the entire
probably
time.
not.
No,